is going on, everybody out there? How are y'all doing today? I need to move my mic a little closer to my face. As you can see and hear, I am feeling a bit better. I have started physical therapy for my back, and it has been doing wonders. So, here's hoping that the trips to the ER and all this other stuff are all out the window, and I will be back to normal life soon. Don't know how long it takes a bulge disc to go back to where it's supposed to, but hey, we're here for the ride. And yes, thank you, Hero and Josh. Welcome, welcome. We got some people in here already. I see nice work on the banner. Yeah, speaking of the banner, guys, if you look down here below at the bottom of your screen, you will actually see just a short little brief welcome. You can become a member, like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. But after that, I give a shout out to the members here. And those members are going to be scrolling down there. They will be there the entire show. And my goal, what I would love to see, is to have have it go like at least 20 minutes or 10 minutes into the show where these names are just constantly going through. And so that happens by y'all sharing this video out and getting it out to more people and putting it in front of folks. And so, yeah, if y'all could, that would be greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get into some of the topics for tonight, because we will be talking about gaming for sure. We have Sony to thank for Helldivers 2 on Xbox, according to Arrowhead, and then GTA 6 is going to need to see license and registration. So, that is in reference to GTA 6 having like this screen that was leaked where basically you need to upload photo identification of who you are playing the game. It has something to do with some laws that got passed in the UK, but I don't like it one bit. And then Lost Soul Aside has gone gold. Guys, if you thought we were going to get to a show in August without me mentioning Lost Soul Aside, you are sadly mistaken. I cannot wait for this game. It has been on my radar for quite some time, and it is almost here. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed. Then, JRPGs are uncool. JRPGs are uncool. Somebody wants to fight me. That's all I'm saying. Like, you don't put that headline on an article and not expect me to go, wait a minute. Because I'm putting on gloves and I'm about to step into the ring. But this is from the people who did Expedition 33. He made a comment, said some stuff, and so we're going to talk about that. We have GameLogic on tonight for the very first time. We'll get to introducing him in just a second. And also, Enate should be swinging through. Unless plans have changed, he should be here momentarily, I'm guessing. And so, with all of that being said, let's get started. This is the Gaming Den. I feel like I should have like some like shock jock music or some like 80s inspired music behind me when that happens. Like Saved by the Bell, the Max, you know, when welcome to WKR5 Campus Radio. Sorry. I'm on some medication for my back. Please forgive me. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get in. Hey, Logic, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. They just had to hear me do a terrible radio voice. So, all right. So you said you got your coffee, you got everything, you're good to roll now.
Yep, I'm good.
Heck yeah. All right, man. So, I thank you first for coming onto the show. This is the first time ever having you. Really excited about that. We did the spoiler cast together, and that was a lot of fun. Logic's mic is damn. What? Huh?
Is Hero saying it's too loud?
I don't know. He said Logic's mic is damn. Oh, damn good. It is really good. Listen, bro, when I'm listening to the Enough to Keep Going podcast, I swear to goodness, I get so chilled and relaxed because y'all are so chill the entire time. and like it's just like this soothing podcast to listen to. You just sit back and just let the two voices take you away. I love it. I love it. So yeah, he does have really good mic quality.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so I sent you all the topics for today, but generally where I like to start is kind of what you've been playing right now and kind of what you're looking forward to. You're quiet, thrifty, and logic is loud. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Here, I will fix mine, and then while logic is answering this question.
And I forgot the question. Now, thrifty.
Sorry, man. What are you playing right now, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so the two most recent things I've been playing have been Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Nintendo Switch 2. And then just tonight I started Atomic Heart on the Xbox Series X. I was kind of looking at the new games, new game list for 2025, and kind of, and I just recently came back to console, so I was kind of revisiting the list and looking at what had been out. And of course, Atomic Heart is an older game, 2023, but I decided to go back to it on the Xbox because the new DLC had just dropped, and I'm not playing the new DLC, but I did, every once in a while, when I see new DLC drop, I say, if that's a game that I haven't finished, or, I started picking at it, but didn't, wrap it up, I go back to it and determine if I'm interested enough to onboard to the DLC as well afterwards.
Okay. And so you said you recently got back into console. What, if I can ask, what led you to kind of break away from console? When did you break away from console? And then kind of what brought you back?
Yeah, so, I've been doing content, whatever you want to call it, faux journalism, content as a hobby. I'm not super crazy about the term content creator, but, if that's what's in vogue now, we'll go with it for a very long time.
It's either that or an influencer. You get to pick which one you want to be.
Definitely not influencer. And then I'm also, at least for part of my career, I've been a systems engineer and been very heavily involved in requirements, like, building out requirements, testing requirements, making sure things are designed to and architected to meet requirements. And so I kind of gamify, and then I kind of have this notion of, the study of what I call consumerism, which is how consumers behave on a market, how they respond to particular products such as consumer electronics, what drives people to make choices. And so I kind of gamify that, in my content creation where, multiple times kind of as I've been podcasting and doing other stuff, I always say, look, if I'm going to do an experiment, right, if I'm going to do this test or this proof of a thing, I'm going to actually do it. And this is kind of a problem I used to have with like mobile phone reviewers back when I was a phone guy and a person who reviewed like phones and tablets, right? Mobile phone reviewers will buy a new phone and like use it for like 2 weeks at best. They will carry all of their other phones that they use right along with it. And I'm like, no, if you're going to do a phone review, you need to put down every single other phone, pick up the phone that you're living with, that you're reviewing, and live with it for at least 2 weeks. Like, at least do that. And really what you really need to do is you really need to do a long-term review of like a year, because like when consumers buy a phone, they're not buying a phone to use it for 2 weeks and then decide that they're going to be satisfied with it for the next 2 years. Like, it doesn't work like that. So, and I do that with like iPhone and Android and like all that stuff. So at any rate, last year, and really like 20 years ago when I first like went hard in the paint on PC gaming, I said, PC gaming is great. This is amazing. There's no need for me to keep my console. At the time, the only console I had was the PlayStation, PlayStation 1. And I had a buddy who was in school with me at the time, and he said, he came over, one evening, before we went out drinking, and he was like, dude, if you get rid of your PlayStation, like we can't play Tekken Tag Tournament. Like, and that's like, he would come over like our pre-flight, right, was he would come over like a couple hours before we were going to go out drinking. We'd play Tekken Tag Tournament or I can't remember what the Sony title was, but back when Sony had 989 Sports, whatever their football title was. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll keep the PlayStation. And then the Dreamcast came out the next year, and I had a neighbor who had it, and he used to come over like and grab me to go play like Soul Calibur and Power Stone and all that stuff. And I had been a big Sega guy growing up. And I said, okay, no, I'm definitely staying on consoles. So at any rate, so from that point, so I had thought about this thing of giving up consoles before, and I had swerved away from that and stayed in consoles. And so last year I said, I really think I'm ready to revisit that fork in the road and go PC only. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Like it's not going to be a joke. I'm not going to play around. I'm not going to like put the things in a corner where I can just go get them. Like if I'm going to go PC only, I'm going to go PC only. So I took all my consoles, I took them to GameStop, I traded them all in. Or I had people who wanted to buy them or whatever. And I spent about a year, right, being PC only. And so this year I came back, right? Because I just decided, I think really for me as a gamer, I really love each of the platforms and each of the ecosystems for the things that they all do differently. And while my favorite genres are on PC, and I could argue myself into that being enough, the reality is like as a lifelong gamer and a lifelong hobbyist, like, no, that's actually not enough. And if I'm going to continue content creating, I also always hold myself to having an obligation to really experience those things, right, and not be talking about them, secondhand or third hand. So I made the decision to go ahead and suck it up and come back to consoles full force.
Okay. So you just took a little hiatus. You weren't like I left at the PS3 and then came back at the PS5.
I was out of pocket for right about a year, 12 months, maybe a little bit over. Yeah.
That's not too terrible. Okay. So what game are you looking forward to right now? Or is there one?
Probably, I mean, the one that springs to mind without me like going through like my watch list and coming through it is Ghost of Yotei, out this fall. That's probably the one I'm most looking forward to. I don't really do a ton of the like I don't know what I want to call it, but like there are things that I'm interested in, but like I don't think about them. I don't do this thing like, oh, hey, I'm looking forward to this game 3 months from now. Let me put that on the calendar and set time aside. And like, this is what I know I'm going to be playing in November, right? I don't do that. Like when the things come out, because we do the podcast and we do like, major releases coming out this week. Like I always know when something is coming out at the time that it's coming out. But I don't, I'm not as OCD as I am. I'm not one of these people like, oh, I need to hurry up and finish this up because this thing is coming out next week. Maybe I make that realization like the week before the thing is coming out, but I'm not wired that tight. I am looking forward to Final Fantasy Tactics. I am looking through my watch list now. So I keep the watch list, but I don't have it like at my fingertips, right? So I don't FOMO out like on a daily basis, just like once every 2 or 3 weeks. But Final Fantasy Tactics, I am actually really looking forward to. That's just like in a genre that's like one of my favorite genres. I haven't decided what platform I'm going to play that on, but it's a good chance that that's a thing that I'm going to do multiple buys of.
I was going to say, you'll just probably buy it on a couple different platforms.
Yeah, I will probably definitely buy it for the Nintendo Switch 2, which I hadn't really been, thinking about, because I think we saw the showcase. I think we saw this show up at the PlayStation showcase right before I bought my Switch 2. I think that was the timeline.
I do believe Tactics was at PlayStation showcase. I think I could be wrong.
Okay. So now that we just had the Direct and I've been reminded that Tactics is coming to the Switch 2, I'm like, oh, wait, I hadn't really thought about like getting it there. So I'll probably get it there and then I'll probably get it, I don't know, somewhere else. I don't know where. Looking forward to Ghost of Yotei, Final Fantasy Tactics. Those are probably like the really, really big ones for 2025. There are some smaller ones like Sword of the Sea is out this month. And I have been looking forward to that.
Yeah, the game coming out for me is Mafia, and it's coming out tomorrow. I had, well,
Yes, yeah.
1 day and like 4 hours until I can download it. So
Nice,
I'm
nice.
actually really excited about that. Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 were some of my favorite games back in the day. The Mafia series, I enjoyed 1. Or let me rephrase that. I enjoyed playing 2. Did never went back and swept through to play the rest of 1 or to play 3. So I'm going in based off of it looks like just another Godfather movie, just put in Italy, which looks really cool. So I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of people who've been talking about that game lately and kind of having their eyebrows raised. Uh, it's saying it might be mid, saying it might not be all this, but at the end of the day, the game's like $50, so it's in my $50 category in my brain of how it should look. And as long as it delivers that, I will be totally fine. And then Lost Soul Aside at the end of the month. I can't wait. It's everything that I want in a video game. It's fast-paced combat, action-heavy, Japanese aesthetic. Just give it to me now. Just let me have it. Not Japanese, Asian aesthetic. Give it to me now. And so
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
excited.
there with you. I'm looking forward to that one as well too. That is actually on my list of like picks for the month.
It
So I'm
went
planning on.
gold. I'm so excited. It went gold. Oh man, you
Yeah.
have no earthly idea. Somebody posted that in the Discord, and I was like, well, that's a topic for tonight now, because I am freaking ready. I was thinking it was going to get delayed again because that's just been what has happened this year. Uh, but no, Lost Soul Aside has gone gold. Currently, though, I am playing RoboCop because I started playing it one day when I was just trying to find something to get my mind off of my back, and I was in the recliner trying to doze off, and I started playing it, and next thing I know, I don't feel my back hurting. It's been like an hour and a half, and I'm like in the mission now. And then now my partner, something happened to her, and so now I'm just like fully invested in what shouldn't be this heavy story drama. Like, it's so weird because the story is really good in it, but the action and like the gameplay is so over the top and campy that you would expect a Bulletstorm or Bulletstorm 2 style of story, but it's the exact opposite. There's actually some really good questions. There's some things that they bring up. There's uh, he has to do psyche evals because he's like glitching out at random times, so he has to do these psyche evals to make sure RoboCop's not taking over Alex Murphy or whatever. And so like there's some really cool stuff that gets asked there, and yeah, did not think that I would enjoy it as much as I did, and didn't think that it would ever be out of the category of, oh, this is just a dumb fun game. Like, so interested to see that. I will say this: the game has terrible, terrible performance issues. Um, the blood splatter goes everywhere, though. That's kind of cool. But the problem is as it's on the wall, it will literally just start shaking on its own like Jello. So it's just the whole screen starts clipping on the wall. So it's just really weird. It's like this bloody goopy spray on the wall that's just jiggling. It's weird. And sometimes the frames do drop, and sometimes it does glitch, and sometimes it does slow down. But generally speaking, those are during like cutscenes or transition pieces, so it doesn't really get me. It doesn't really bother me that much. Holy crap on a stick! Well, guys, depending on how my medicine kicks in tonight, y'all just got a Lies of P live stream. I don't know if that will be tonight or tomorrow night. It depends on the medication, but y'all did just earn that. You can thank Stephen Leon for that with 20 gifted members. Holy crap. Stephen Leon, thank you so much for that. Wow. That's a lot of people getting hit with that too. Toolman, Michael Meridian, Fresh, Old Man Gaming, Brian East, Fabrizzle, Stephen Leon. Oh wait, I like jiggling. William R. Aguilar, Matt Davis, Aaron Walsh, Andre Clay, Henzo, 8K Dual Sensible, Rob Gomez, Enate, True Serum, Cardi Player, That's awesome. J942 and Lyndon Knacker. Oh, hey, Lyndon, that's a new one. He hasn't gotten one before. Awesome. Or she. That's really cool. Thank you again for that, Steven. I do appreciate it, man. Okay. So, those are what I'm looking forward to. Those are kind of why. Let's get into this whole JRPG thing. Because, my God. Like, don't kneecap your own people. I understand what your sentiment was, but you don't have to kneecap us. That's all I'm saying. You just let's just dive in. Let me pull it up. Get it over here. All right. So this article is from Push Square. Claire Obscure director says turn-based JRPGs are still seen as uncool. Listen, let me tell you all a secret here. We all know that. Even those of us who are JRPG and turn-based fans. We know they're seen as uncool. But you don't have to tell us. You don't have to confirm it. Like, let us ride the victory. We just had Expedition 33 sell 3 million copies at $50 a pop. You don't have to come out and go, yeah, well, these things are still uncool. We know. So does everybody else. But we don't have to just say it. Anyways, I'm being very tongue-in-cheek right now. All right, so let's start here. The success of Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has sparked all kinds of conversations surrounding turn-based RPGs, with many onlookers suggesting that Japanese developers could learn a lot from Sandfall Interactive's debut. They absolutely could. He isn't wrong. Let him say it.
Yes, they definitely could learn.
What's up, Enate? Hey, we'll pause the reading. What's going on, Enate? How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good.
Oh, all right. Same two questions to you. We've only gotten one sentence in. How is or what are you gaming right now? What game are you playing right now? And what game are you looking forward to in the near future?
Right now I'm playing Chained Echoes. It's been I started it a while back, but I got distracted by a million other games. So yeah, that's pretty much the exclusive focus ever since I platinumed Death Stranding 2. So yeah, Chained Echoes is like my main jam right now. Considerably far in it right now, so I don't know. Supposedly said it was 25 to 30 hours or something, but this is again why I never trust those things, and I just play the game because I feel like I've been playing way longer than that, and I'm pretty sure I have. And I feel like I still have a ton of stuff to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. The map design drives me crazy. I hate when maps feel like they're designed just to make you lost. And,
yes. Yes.
Like just kind of pad the game, especially when a game is long enough that it doesn't need padding.
Yeah.
So it's just like frustrating map design for frustration's sake, like just because. So that drives me up a wall.
The combat is super fun in that game, though. Yeah,
it is. I'm enjoying my time with it. It's like a solid 8. I mean, I'm not like jumping out the gym like some people were on it so far. Like people were like, "Oh my god, it's like the reincarnation indie version of Xenogears," and like, "Oh my god, you gotta play it." And I'm like, I don't know. That's a lot. That's some really high praise because Xenogears is my favorite game of all time. So I'm already extremely skeptical.
I
going
already
in.
don't believe you.
Yeah, I feel like anytime there's characters in a game, religion, and mechs, people are like, "Oh my god, Xenogears," and I'm like, that is not the entire makeup of Xenogears. Like, please stop trying to simplify it like that. That is not how that works. But yeah, as far as something I'm looking forward to soon, I mean, like you said, Mafia is about to come out, so that's definitely something. But I guess the big elephant in the room for me, if I made it more personal, for single player stuff, is Super Robot Wars Y, which is coming out very soon. Most people, especially on consoles, won't know anything about that because if you want to play it on console, you either have to import it or you have to, if you want to play it digitally, you have to have a Singapore account and purchase currency in exchange to even purchase it on the PSN. So it's unnecessarily complicated, but I love the game. I love mechs and like anime mechs and stuff like that. This one always has Gundams and a bunch of other stuff in it. I'm a real big fan. I almost have the platinum for every single one of them that are out on PlayStation. I'm just short one.
You and
right
Kofi
now.
find some wild ways to get a hold of your games. I'm just saying.
Man, I look, when I found out it was mechs in a strategy RPG, I had to do and get it by any means necessary. Now, for whatever reason, they started publishing it with Super Robot Wars 30, the last one. They started publishing in America, but only on PC for some reason. So only on Steam. I don't know. It's super weird because it has something to do with all the trademarks of all the songs, the anime songs, and all the other stuff in the game. Like, you literally can't. The screenshot button does not work in this game at all because they don't want you to screen record anything. Like, it's all like super copyrighted music. So like, it doesn't, like, from the moment you start the game, like, your screenshot button just doesn't work. It's like fully disabled. It's nuts, which sucks because there's some really cool combat and all this other cool stuff I always want to show people. And I'm like, oh, I need a freaking capture card just to do this if I wanted to show something. So occasionally I'll just record something off my TV and just show people. But yeah, that's probably my biggest one personally. And then if I thought about something more multiplayer centric, the big one for me is Borderlands 4.
Oh, it's gonna get you back?
So. Yeah. I mean, I played 3, so I'm not this big person who just like ran away from 3. Like 3 was still.
Okay. I thought you didn't like.
Yeah,
3.
the gameplay. No, the gameplay in 3 was still fire. Like, that's the thing people would mix up. The story was trash, but the gameplay was still fire. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of the gameplay. The Mechromancer and all the cool classes and a ton of stuff they had. It's just the story drove me crazy because they tried to do the whole streamer thing with the streamer twins and they were super annoying and stupid. But yeah, the gameplay was still great. The one that I don't like gameplay wise was like the pre-sequel or whatever. I hated that. Like, that was terrible. I don't even know why they made that.
Listen, I enjoyed my about 15 hours I had in Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That, and I know that's not really Borderlands, but that game felt really good. And so, did I just cross up 2 franchises?
Well, I mean, they did make it, but the problem with Tiny Tina is like they just kind of thought they could take the Borderlands formula and throw it into something else, and they did it terribly. It was
perfectly.
That game. Well, no, but I mean it. I mean, it's terrible as in it is not a Borderlands experience.
Oh, no. Like, it is an experience for a Dungeons & Dragons Master Lord
player.
Yeah,
that's different.
To get in there and geek out and giggle at all the little jokes that she's making at the table because your D&D group does the same thing. Like, that was the whole thing for me. Yeah, there was some shooting and some other stuff that went on, but, like, the whole point of the game was because I'm a D&D player, and so it literally felt like I was just at the table listening to my DM tell a story as I was going through the game, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people liked it. It was okay. For me, my biggest problem was like that was supposed to be Morgan's introduction to play Borderlands, and because she has never played one, and then it was a absolutely abysmal example of what it is like to play Borderlands. So she's excited to finally actually get to play a real Borderlands. So yeah, I hope they don't screw this up.
I hate that that's where we've gotten with larger studios and larger companies. When they go to produce something, we're like, dear God, I hope they don't mess it up. Like, when it used to be like slam dunks left and right, and now it's like, man, please just don't screw it up. Please? Can you just leave it alone? Can you not pee on it? Can you let us have it? So.
Well, I mean, that's what I always tell people. I was like, these companies, like I have an appreciation for the legacy and the things that a lot of these companies have given me, but I mean, I'm rating you on the last thing you did. Right. So the last thing you did wasn't that hot, so you need to fix it. Like, so yeah, they got some work to do. I've heard really great things from some of the people who really know Borderlands though, and they're talking about it's like an incredible game, and they've gotten to play it early. So I have a lot of faith, especially one person in particular. Now, I don't put a lot of stock in people when it comes to like YouTubers and stuff, but this person really, really is into Borderlands the way that I am, and typically finds a lot of fun in the things that I do in Borderlands. So the fact that he's freaking out over it and he really enjoyed what he's played of it gives me confidence that at least when it comes to the gameplay, they're not going to mess it up, and that's really all I need.
Man, I hope it comes out good for you. I really do. So
Yeah,
we're gonna skip through. We're gonna get over here to Expedition 33 and what the guy said real quick, because this I had picked this topic. I'd already sent out the topics to Logic, and then you messaged me, and I was like, I'm gonna see if he wants to come on because this is gonna be fun to get their opinions on this, especially together. So
Absolutely.
he goes on to say, of course, Claire Obscure director Guillermo Broshi, I think I said that wrong, has been outspoken about his appreciation for Japanese RPGs. The game simply wouldn't exist as it does without taking inspiration from those that came before. But Broche believes that there is still a kind of stigma around the genre. In an interview with Automation, he hints at some lasting frustrations. I could talk about the prejudice towards JRPGs forever. Then he laughs. He continues, personally speaking, I think Japanese turn-based RPGs were super popular up until the Xbox 360 era, but around the time open world games started getting more popular through gaming media, JRPGs started being considered uncool. We do get where he's coming from. We vividly remember reading old PlayStation magazines back in the early 2000s, and writers would often be totally dismissive of any JRPG not called Final Fantasy. I was too, reducing them to anime nonsense for lack of a better term. While they do sell a large number of copies, with the Persona series as a prime example, I feel like the prejudice against turn-based RPGs isn't completely gone. Okay, so he goes on to explain that he makes the uncool statement. It's not like we added the parry system and built such a narrative experience because we wanted to avoid our game facing prejudice. We did it because we wanted to. So there's a little bit to unpack there. We have JRPGs being uncool, which is the like kind of the heading, the title, all of that, whatever. But he brings up a good point that like they've not been the cool thing since the Xbox 360, which would be the PS2? PS3?
PS3, yeah.
PS3, okay.
I was going to say PS3,
And
yeah.
if I look back, I can honestly look and go, yeah, because if it wasn't Square Enix, I literally picked it up, checked the publisher on the back. If it wasn't Square Enix, I'd put the stupid thing down because it either looked cartoonish or anime or kiddie. And I was like, I don't want that. That's not what I want in my RPGs. That's not what I want. And then other games came out that were action role-playing games, and that's where they kind of got their footing, and that's when JRPGs kind of started to dwindle. And now it's very much the whole PS4 generation. It felt like there weren't a ton of JRPGs that kind of broke out of that cartoony look, outside of course, Final Fantasies. And now, moving forward, because of Expedition 33, and I'll even give games like Tales of Arise their due on that. Like, Tales of Arise kind of broke away from the more cartoony look. It looks very anime, but it doesn't look... This is going to sound awful. It doesn't look cheap cartoon. I know that, like, picture the Tom Avery cartoons from when we were all kids that we would see reruns of versus the Looney Tunes. That's kind of what I have to picture in my head when describing these. One looks high quality, looks really well done. Yes, it's a cartoon, but it still looks good. The animations are great. The other one, the color palettes are a little duller. The lines aren't as good. Maybe the storytelling is a little off. Like, there was always a degradation once you left that AAA space that Square Enix had held. And so I definitely see where he's coming from, but, and I'll start with Logic on this one, Do you think that with the success of games like Metaphor, with the success of games like Expedition 33, with their hits in their own rights in Sea of Stars and Chained Echoes was one that Enate mentioned earlier, with kind of the buzz we're seeing on Trails in the Sky FC, do you think that this is going to be something that in the near future we see kind of more games coming out doing well and succeeding in this more turn-based setup?
So as you mentioned, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
And there's several things about this that are kind of weirdisms for me, as far as kind of turns and twists in the road. So much so that I don't even know exactly where to start. So first of all, I think while turn-based is synonymous with JRPGs, they are not exclusive to JRPGs, right? And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there's a lot of association with turn-based games that are not solely JRPGs.
I would say if you're on the PC space, yes. If you're from the console space, no.
Okay. And so I feel like what I've seen and what I've been exposed to is less of angst about JRPGs and more angst, particularly from younger generation of gamers, about turn-based, right? I've seen a lot of arguments that, like, I saw this last year with Baldur's Gate, right? That Baldur's Gate is niche. Nobody wants to play turn-based. It's not exciting enough. It feels slow. It feels plotting. And I have my own opinions about people who have that perspective. But so, like, to me, in my mind, I hadn't, like, tightly coupled it to the notion of JRPGs. Going back to what you said about Square Enix, that is, I'm not saying you're weird, but, like, it's weird to me the point in history where that turn changed, because Square Enix doesn't merge until 2003. So 2 years before the 360 comes out. Up until that point, everybody knows them as separate companies, doing separate games. So how that carried through into the generation is kind of weird. I feel like the turn and the twist became, you have the Xbox 360 kind of rise, and there was a huge defection right in that time frame from Gen 6 to Gen 7 that a lot of people don't talk about, and particularly with a lot of the social media angst over platform preference that goes on. I want to say PlayStation 2 outsold, like, the original Xbox, like 124 million units to like 24 million units. It was something ridiculous. And then you go to Gen 7, and those two consoles are at parity, right? So you have lots of people who flipped from PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360. And the Xbox 360 is a Western-centric console. And so you have a history of video games up until that point that had definitely been, that had definitely been kind of Eastern-based, right? Most of them coming out of Japan and other parts of Asia. And then you have the rise of this console that is not only firmly itself, right, kind of designed right out of an American company, but a lot of the ethos of the content around it is also very squarely American, right? Gears of War, Halo. Obviously the 360 got that reputation as being the dude bro console, right? And so it gets a huge demographic that kind of flows in that direction. And those are obviously people who probably aren't your JRPG centric people. I have long, like, for me personally, like, I'm a very recent JRPG convert, and for most of the time, the reason I always got turned off every time I tried a JRPG was just the really lengthy exposition. And it wasn't even like the turn-based. The turn-based, I'm perfectly fine with turn-based mechanics. So some of, like, the story of like turns people off to JRPG, other points, and admittedly there are blinds of, like, I never heard about this whole thing of like some outlet that there are outlets that were, like, particularly negative about JRPGs that I guess a lot of people listen to before this TV channel that was, like, before G4 TV or whatever. apparently like was heavily involved in kind of slandering like a lot of JRPGs. So like none of that history I knew about. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts because like there's pieces of this that I associate with like different causality, and you know that's different than kind of the story plays maps things out.
Whew, dude, you were botting really bad at the end there. Uh, Not at the end, but like right before it. So do you remember what you said right before you said you wanted to hear our thoughts? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you guys are biting for me now on this end, so I'm gonna disconnect
Oh,
from the call and try and call back in.
okay. The Hero said the Ferrari is broken. That's, I don't know if you heard at the beginning, but they said his mic was like a Ferrari versus my, what was it, a pickup truck?
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, because he's crystal clear, and plus his freaking voice. Like, I can't do that. I'm not that
Yeah,
lucky.
I mean, people's voice is like already like an inherent thing. Like I recently listened to a test for my microphone for checking the tuning for mine, and a guy did the you know say you know he says like a specific thing for every mic that he's talking about. You know, uh hi, you know, this is so and so, and this is me talking on
Oh
such
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
such. Yeah, so he does that, and then but his wife is an audiobook reader, and she did the same sentence, and it just sounded like pure bliss in your ears. And which was crazy because as someone who has listened to about 300 audiobooks at this point, I actually don't like female narrators,
I don't
like
either.
because most of them are like, I don't know, they're like annoying. They mess up the boy voices as well. It's a mess. It's a
They're
whole
almost
thing.
too breathy. Like,
Yeah, like it's
yeah.
it's weird. But yeah, they don't have the same range as a lot of the guys. But listening to her do the test was like God, like it was just insane. Like the voice difference when she did it. So yeah, your inherent voice has a very big difference in how people hear you. Like Morgan hates her own voice, but I tell her everybody loves Morgan's voice on the show.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you said that, and you know somebody is going to comment. You know who's going to comment in the chat
Of
about her
course.
voice. Yeah, yeah. It's it's no lie. It's just that smooth. That yeah. I can't do that. Logic, is it better now?
I'm not sure how's it sound to you guys.
It sounds
Yeah,
great.
you sound good.
Yeah,
Sounds smooth like butter.
that's definitely a Discord thing. I mean, I'm on a 1 gigabit per second connection. I'm getting 891 down and 914 up right now. So
So get this crap. Before I started the show, I had to, just check, make sure everything was working right. And I noticed when I moved one of my windows over, it had the 4 websites for tonight's topics on them. And I moved it over, and the whole thing like glitched. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then it did it again. And like the web page wasn't sticking with the window. And so I quickly go over to Google and I do like a run my test, and my 300 whatever download is at like 40, and my 30 to 50 upload is at 2. And I'm like, oh, which is why I was late, because I was like, I need to go fix this. And so I had to unplug my freaking router and plug it back in, because this is my life. I can't, I just got to call the company to come out and give me a new freaking router. But, anyways, all right. So, Enate, what are your thoughts on on the article we read? I know we had kind of a break right there, but JRPGs, turn-based RPGs, like and Logic, I do want to answer your question real quick, because, or not question, but something you said. I only knew turn-based RPGs in the sense of JRPGs. I never knew there was this whole other gaming ecosystem that had been developed on the PC for games like Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2. The Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 that I played were called Dark Alliance, and they were on the PlayStation. And so like, and they were action adventure RPGs, top-down isometric looks. And so like, that's why I said if you're coming from a strictly console background, turn-based absolutely 100% of the time means JRPG. Until you start playing them and realize that not all JRPGs are turn-based. But that's kind of where I was coming from with that. And so, Enate, what do you think about this article? What do you think about what he said?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try this. I don't know. My Discord turned yellow for a second too, so hopefully it's not just like Discord having a whole heart attack.
That would really suck.
But yeah, it really would, and it has definitely happened before.
It's happened to me before.
Yeah, I don't know. Discord has like the worst timing with like weird outages and like other issues. It's annoying. But yeah, I mean when I first read it, I mean I 100% agree with him. I mean, as someone who has played them pretty much consistently since 1998, when I discovered my first one, that was, I still consider that late for me, considering, you know, a lot of people who played them during SNES and NES and stuff. But obviously a lot more people have played them even later than that. But yeah, no, I mean, you can still see kind of the stigma from people and stuff like that surrounding it. But I think the biggest problem, and this is where he's right, is that honestly a lot of people are just ignorant and they just don't know better. Like, but that is not indicative of being exclusive to turn-based RPGs, right? This is a larger issue that we have had on my podcast and individually discussed with Morgan all the time, is that a large portion of gamers today, even plenty of people that play a lot of games, still have no idea what they like as a gamer. They're not really dialed in. So a lot, like, that's why you see so many people all the time when something comes out and really breaks the mold and gets them to try something else and that they typically wouldn't have. Like, you got a bunch of people trying a bunch of different things, right? And there's people who will tell you they don't know, but I'm talking about the people who act as if they're like really dialed in and they know exactly what they like, but there's a large portion of genres that they've never even remotely tried. So they have this stigma is on turn-based games, and they hear all the side noise, I guess, all the noise from people who haven't played them. Look at the biggest tweets about turn-based games. It's always the people talking the most trash, right? You know, but most of them, when you get down to it, have never even played one, right? Like, there was a tweet a while back that was like, turn-based games could never, or something, and it was like the combat in Spider-Man. And it was like, but then he was like arguing with people for like days about how, like, yeah, but turn-based is stupid, you just have to sit there and get hit, and this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff. And then he finally admitted down in the comments at some point, I've never played one. Maybe like, somebody explained to him, like, after seeing like a lot of the explanations about why people love turn-based games, he was like, okay, I feel like I was wrong, and I really should give these games a chance and try to play one. And I was like, but that's what I'm saying, is it's like, that is the stigma.
This is because people play the front page of Metacritic.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're just the new hotness, you know, the big, you know, the zeitgeist, you know, the big discussion games. Like, and then it's like, you know, again, they never set out to discover these games on their own. Like, I again, another conversation we had, like, we always laugh at people who, like, I remember the craziest thing I heard from someone at one point was, somebody was like, oh, I can't play that game based on how other people feel about it. I was like, what? Like, what does that even mean?
Somebody legitimately said those words in that order to you?
Yes. This was like on Twitter. Like, and I was like, what do you mean? What is other people like? There is a game that you've seen that you want to play,
Yeah.
but your concern is what other people think of the game. Therefore, you are not going to play it. Like, have you met gaming? You know, gaming is a selfish hobby, right?
Bro,
It is
somebody
about
can tell
you.
me that Lost Soul runs like dog water, and I'm still gonna keep my fucking pre-order because that game is
No,
mine
but
on the 29th.
but that's what I'm saying. I was like, where did gamers start needing permission from like social media to be excited about something or to play something? Like, but again, these are I'm mentioning like a lot of different weird proclivities that people have that hinder them from experiencing all that gaming actually has to offer. So you have a lot of gamers out here who are like gamer inept. Like they have not experienced more than a few genres. And like like when that's why I said it's different for me, right? And this is why I said like I'm very careful in the way I explain stuff. And then there's certain things that I don't explain or say often because people wouldn't get it, right? And because they seem extreme, right? Like if I tell you I've never played a Zelda game that I actually liked, that sounds extreme, right? Because why? Because Zelda is a very beloved franchise and a lot of people like it. So when I say that, all those people who love Zelda are like, how dare you?
Well, yeah, but but that's really funny because the first question I have is, well, which ones have you played?
Yeah, exactly. And
Like,
I've played all of them.
oh, have you?
Yes, I have tried every single one, and I just do not like them, and it's not my game.
Link to the
And
Past?
I've accepted that. It doesn't matter. I've
Okay.
tried all of them.
I'll let this go
Yeah.
for now because I don't have 2 hours. But
I trust me. I know. You see,
fuck,
you see,
bro?
you
Like-
see. It's already bringing up out of you. You
Like,
see, one game.
Link
one
to the
game.
Past is probably a top 5 for me of all time. Like,
But okay, let me explain this differently to you though. But the key though, because I'm so well versed in gaming and the amount of games that I've played, that objectively I can understand why you like that game. but I don't. But in reverse though, I don't expect that same understanding from people who love the game. You see what I'm saying?
I guess that's
Because
true.
I know what that game has. It's the same thing with Mario, right? The last Mario I played that I enjoyed, like pure Mario game, like platformer, was Mario 64. But literally Mario died for me after that. Every single game has been boring for me. I don't care if it's Sunshine, I don't care if it's whatever, it doesn't matter. But those are my personal choices, not something based on my gaming experience
Sure.
and how I've evolved as a gamer, not hearsay and noise from, Twitter or reviews or all these other things, right? It's like I give Final Fantasy 16 all the smoke, right? But I got the platinum.
Look what they did to my baby. Look what they did
Exactly.
to my baby.
But I got the platinum though, so can't nobody come for me.
Right.
Because half these people who love it and put it as like their top 3 game don't even got that. So I was like, you can't come for me anyway. I put in the work. Like I said, to platinum it, you got to beat it twice. So again, you got nothing to say to me when it comes to that. We could agree to disagree. Like I said, I won't tell somebody you're wrong that you like that game. No, because I'm not going to argue people's feelings, right?
Sure.
But ultimately, that's what I'm saying. That's essentially what you're witnessing with turn-based, right? Is people who just don't know because they've just never experienced it, right? And it takes the right experience as well, right? In order to get somebody involved. You can ruin something for someone with the wrong experience, which is again another reason why I had this conversation with Hero at one point when he was asking for suggestions after Expedition 33, and I told him I'm very careful about giving suggestions because if I don't know you, I don't want to give you a suggestion that is technically, while maybe objectively good or rated really high and a lot of people love it, there might be something really specific in it that you hate or not like. Priscilla famously, right? Priscilla thought like the worst of anime, right? Before she met me. Like, anime people were weird. Those were those weird kids in class that drew those big-breasted women, like all this other stuff, right? She had all the negatives, right? And then I introduced her to an anime that had psychological ramifications and a very sophisticated story and all this other stuff going on. And then from then
She
on,
did.
she fell in love with several instances of anime, right? This is the same way with how uh for the years into RPGs or turn-based JRPGs, right? If I really feel like something with them, or I really notice they're into certain aspects that I feel like could work for them, that's what it takes, right? Like when I got Morgan into them, Morgan is new to turn-based JRPGs still, but now she's digging, head first, all on her own, right? She's got her own taste. She knows what she's looking for. Now that she's had a taste, I got her started with Persona 5 Royale. Then she got into and platinumed Octopath Traveler 2, which is ridiculous because that game is incredibly hard to platinum if anybody has tried it. But this goes to show what I'm saying. It's like, it's never too late, number one. But again, what he's talking about, that stigma, right? What I'm explaining is just, like I said, it's just ignorance. Like, people just don't know, and people start to fear the things they don't know, right? So I don't want this thing taking off that I feel like I think I don't like. You see how I said that? So this person is completely unaware. They don't know. They're not even sure if they like it or not. They've never tried it. They refuse to try it because there's this stigma from all these other people, or these or maybe some popular streamer they know. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't Call of Duty and I'm not busting shots in 20 minutes, like, I don't want to play it. Like, and again, nothing wrong with that. But like, again, if you haven't played something or you haven't experienced it, like the internet, the problem is the internet has given so many people a voice on things that they are completely 100%, should not be speaking on. And that stigma, that has amplified that stigma. Like I told you about a lot of those tweets that go viral that are talking the most smack about turn-based, but again, none of these people have played it. And then they say, you can go through the comments and see all the ignorant stuff that people say. And as a turn-based fan, you're like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true either. Like when the guy said, "Oh, you just stand there and get hit." It's like, that's not true. That's not true.
I'm
like,
thinking
there's
of
an entire
37 things that could happen.
Yeah, there's so many things that could happen. It's like, well, like the first thing people were saying, well, you wouldn't get hit if you wasn't a scrub. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you actually planned your tactics accordingly and knew what you were doing. I mean, but he's completely lost, and he doesn't even understand that response because, again, he's never experienced it, so he doesn't understand the strategy involved and all the different things. And it's rarely shown, right? This isn't something where it's like a Call of Duty clip where you could just watch me go 40-2 and just massacre the other team, and you're like, dang, that person is good, right?
You did.
It's not. I mean, I've definitely gone 40-2.
No. I meant like that's the mentality of like, good job, you did it, way to go. Like,
oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, one thing is very easy to see, and then the other thing is like something you can't comprehend, right? Like for me to explain to you about the Japanese game called Go, and tell you that I watched an anime called Hikaru no Go, and it was one of the most intriguing things I've ever watched in my life, makes no sense. I have no way to show you that. I have no way to convey to you why that was so intriguing. But if I took a video of me riding in a Lamborghini and be like, dude, I went 255 miles an hour, watch this video, it was insane. You immediately get what I meant, because that's very easy for me to show you what I got out of whatever I just did. I just went 250 miles an hour in a Lamborghini. Everybody knows what that looks like.
I spent 2 hours fighting this big ass weapon in the ocean, and I just stood there the whole fucking time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's like, again, it's hard to convey how it happens, because we're not sharing these clips and these triumphs and these moments. And even if we did, if the person doesn't know what they're looking at, then it's not so overly obvious.
It looks boring.
That everybody, so it'll look boring, right? Like people, like the clip that Morgan shared when we were like 8 deep in party chat and we were strategizing on some boss she was playing against an Octopath, and we all freak out and cheer and the crowd goes wild and we did all this stuff, right? Now, people who have watched that clip that played Octopath they know what's happening. Like they're like, oh my God, this is one of the most exhilarating clips I've ever seen in my life. But if I showed that to like my mom or something, like I mean, I hear you're excited, so you guys must have done something good. Like like that's how most people look at that clip. So yeah, so I get it, right? It's hard to convey, it's hard to see. It's not the very overly, in your face thing. But again, at the same time, like that's also, I do put that as at fault sometimes on JRPGs in general, right? Like being able to show stuff off. Like a lot of people, a lot of JRPG longtime fans I've seen be very nasty or mean about Expedition, right? Because of the fanfare that it's garnered from its visual fidelity and animation quality and all the other great things that it did, right? That brought a lot of people in, right? And I told people, though, for the longest time, as someone who's been a big fan of turn-based games, especially JRPGs, that one of their biggest downfalls is not upgrading with the times. And but again, everybody thinks this means be realistic. No one is telling you to be ultra realistic. I said update. Like your game should not still have PS2 grass textures. Like again, I know we can get past
I
it
wish I could
because
play
we
an organ
love
behind you right now while you are preaching this. I need to just get like the organ keys back here, because for the love of God, yes.
Yeah, like, but people don't get it, and it's like they want them to stay stuck in this very specific look in this mode, and I'm like, bro, they gotta update at some point. No one said it has to be realistic. This is, people always go from one extreme to the other. No one said they need to be realistic. I said you need to update your visual fidelity. Again, you mentioned Tales of Arise earlier, right? Again, I had tons of people message me. That's not even turn-based, just a Japanese RPG, right? But I had tons of people message me asking me about Tales of Arise that have never even talked to me about RPGs in their whole life. Why? Because it looked good. It really was updated. Yeah, it had the particle effects were going everywhere when he swung the sword that was on fire. It looked intriguing.
Oh
yeah, you
God,
have to entice
that game
people.
is so good.
Yeah, but and it is, and I loved it. Right? It might have been my game of the year that year, but I had to double check. But it was very high on my list. Like, and again, this is the other stigma, right? Turn-based fans hate action games. False. We just talked very, very nicely about how much we both liked Tales of Arise. It's not about that.
Right.
But you got to do both of these things right in order for them to thrive, right? And this is why earlier when we said for this team, well, we said that Square has a lot they could learn from them, and one of the things you said, right, is exactly what I'm talking about, and I've talked about it with you before on your show about the lack of confidence coming from Square, and it, to me, it shows in their games and their indecisiveness in their games when they're doing half measures, right, for a lot of their games, and it's like, oh, this is a character action game with no RPG elements, or something like that. Like you're doing half measures, so you're the quote unquote jack of all trades, master of none. So you're getting all this conflict between action fans and turn-based and all this other stuff. But in reality, that stuff's always been there. But what's happening is the confusion on the developer side from Square is really where their main issue has been, right? You've heard them falter. You've heard them say, I heard somebody stated earlier, Square, they said, well, Square went away from turn-based because it showed them that they couldn't sell the numbers that they wanted.
Correct.
Yet Square went action and they got the exact same numbers, if not worse. So now what? So you see what I'm saying? So it's like, the reality is what people want from them is for them to create a game that they really want, to focus on creating a great game and a great RPG first and foremost. That's what you need to focus on. But
they're doing it with their HD 2D stuff. Like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. It's coming through in other passion projects, and it's like you get a glimpse of that. Oh, there's the Square I know and love.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the key thing I want people to take away from the whole, like I said, is there's a stigma, obviously, right? But the key here is what you said earlier. We did our game that way on purpose, or whatever, the line that you said that he said, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, we designed our game that way so that it would be controversial or whatever you said it was, whatever that line
No, he
was.
said it's not like we added the parry system and built such a narrative experience because we wanted to avoid our game facing prejudice. We did it because we wanted to do it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That is conviction. They set out with a notion and a mission statement, and they stuck to it, and they delivered exactly the game they wanted to, and people loved it, and people went crazy. And some people didn't like it, and that's fine. Everything's not for everybody, and that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. Look at the fanfare. Look at what it looks like when you truly commit 100%, and people can feel it in your game, in every aspect of your game, whether it's the music, the narrative, the character development, the world building, all these things that we talked about. Funny enough, that we're all on here right now, with the exception of Morgan and Hero, about how we had a 4-hour podcast, bro, about a spoiler cast, and we still had more to say. We skipped stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get half the crap done.
Yeah, we didn't get half of it done because we were so passionate about this crazy experience that we got, and that we just don't get all the time in gaming. It's a very special game, and it's like, of course I want Square to learn from that, because Square used to give me these same feelings.
Yeah.
Like I said, Xenogears is my favorite game of all time. But even back then, Square almost hesitated, which is why famously the second disc isn't finished correctly. And because the budgeting was cut, because guess what they did? They wanted to run back to Final Fantasy, and they didn't want to commit. And you know what they thought? They thought Xenogears is too complicated and people won't get it. That is literally what happened during development. And they made them cut it and chopped up the second disc, and it was a whole mess. It's a whole thing. But yeah, like I said, he's not wrong ultimately in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, like I said, ultimately, I mean, it's just ignorance, bro. It's like it's anything else. Anytime someone doesn't know something, and or they haven't experienced something, they're always gonna feel that way, right? You see it in so many aspects of life, especially hobbies that people are into. Like, that's what I never tell people. I'm like, bro, I do not get why dude number 458 gets the greatest high in the world from rock climbing. Why? Because I will never get that. Because I'm never doing that. It's like,
nope.
But I'll admit though, I'm 100% ignorant to that feeling, and I have no plans to go rock climbing. I'm not even built for that, number one. But yeah, that's a lot of what the stigma is. You get, yeah, I mean, I would make it about the first hop, and then probably fall off the rock. So yeah, I'm not gonna get very far.
Oh shit.
But yeah, like I said, yeah, he's not wrong, man. It's just it's sad, but thankfully, when we get these games that do come out and push the needle and are pervasive the way that Expedition 33 was, and that Expedition 33 was, it brought a lot of new people in. It made a lot of people curious. Our very own Hero, in the chat, has, like I said, he admitted, he was like, man, I was wrong. Man, I want all the JRPGs now. Give them to me. Give me everything.
Thing too, man. And I mentioned this on one of your tweets or a response to a tweet you did. But what really sucks is how toxic the gaming community can be to people, just in general. And
I agree.
It's because you mentioned it, the turn-based mafia out there, as it were, can be a bunch of pricks. And
yes, 100%.
Generally speaking, the more they lean towards Final Fantasy, the more of a prick they become. And so this is somebody who that's me. But like with Hero, he came in and was like, man, I love this. I love it. This is great. I want more. And I'm so glad he had people like you and other folks in the Discord to reach out to and be like, hey guys, what do y'all think about this? Because I want more. Because the problem is if you take that same sentiment to Twitter or to like a public opinion space, dude, you're going to get so many people going, we don't want you, you're just a fake fan, you're not going to like anything else, you just like it because of the graphics, and they're just going to start railroading.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and that is disappointing to me, honestly.
Because we're like, no, please come in.
Yeah, like these are people who are part of the fandom that I am.
Yeah.
And that disappointed me so much, bro. I was so disheartened by some of the comments I've seen surrounding this, and I'm just like, y'all really, but really, the thing I've seen is the nastiness has come from this game skyrocketing a lot of people's interests into turn-based, and the fact that it wasn't their obscure JRPG that did it. And to me, that's like so weird. I was like, but why does it matter who did it? Like, it's spreading, and if anything, it's going to make more people interested. It's showing other developers, hey, this is a viable thing. Remember that turn-based RPG we had sitting in the cut? Let's bring that up. Let's greenlight that. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about all the teams that want to greenlight something right now that might have been sitting in the cut, that might have not got greenlit before, that saw Expedition 33 come out, and they're like, yo, I want that. I want a story. I want the character development. I want the world building. I want, we can finally do that, because the higher ups, somebody who was the VP or the investors or whatever saw this game or the popularity and how crazy it was and all the awards that it's probably going to win. And they're like, yo, green light that project immediately. Yeah. So that's, I'm thinking about all the good things, but these people are like, especially Trails. Like, I don't know, Trails fans have been like, some Trails fans, not all, I ain't gonna get all of them, but some Trails fans again have been like, oh, well, I hate you're not a true JRPG fan if you like that game or this, that, and for number one, ain't nobody gonna tell me who the hell I am. So we're gonna set that straight. First of all, as Logic said the other day on Twitter, these people don't speak for me. So yeah, I've been playing JRPGs plenty long enough, and honestly, longer than most of these people making these comments have been alive. So yeah, we're definitely not about to tell me what I am a fan of. But yeah, that's been the other stigma, trying to say all the people who like this game are not real JRPG fans, and like all this other fanfare. Again, don't listen to none of that. But yeah, it's been like I said, weird. And it's like, why be weird about it? Be excited that it exposed a bunch of these people, brought in a new fanfare of people, and may even boost your games that you liked, whether it's the Trail series, Final Fantasy, whatever, in order to, produce and see how much more viable it can be now that this big, 5, 6, 7, 10 million more people, or however many more it enticed to try these games, have now fallen in love with this series after, thinking they wouldn't like it this entire time. Yeah. And it made the difference. That one game made the difference, and now they love it. And it's like, that's what I'm excited for. That's what I like. So hopefully more and more of that stigma goes away. But yeah, man, it was a lot of damage done in the PS3 360 era. Despite, like, someone said in the chat earlier, we did get some gems like Ni no Kuni, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely the down gen when it came to like the amount of really great JRPGs and stuff that we got. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited for Sandfall, and I hope they keep pushing it.
It does seem like this gen is pretty loaded with all of them, from every range, from pixel to not. GameLogic or Logic, do you have anything to add before we go on to the next topic?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
So wait, hold on. I do want to add something that Logic said, because he didn't say it. But Logic brought up something when he was doing his solo joint the other day, and he was educating people, because this comment came up, and this is something we're going to talk about on the show Saturday. But people talking about old game development versus current day development, and Logic pointed out like the thousands of games that come out now per year versus, like, I looked it up. The NES had like officially 667, I believe is the number that I pulled up, games on it. And people are always like you mentioned earlier, right? You said we're getting pixels, we're getting a bunch of indie stuff. We're getting games. I'm playing Chained Echoes right now, which was supposedly done by one person. But like that type. Yeah, like we're getting games like that in the landscape, the way gaming is done today, and the accessibility people have to the tools to create games, right? So people are upset that like the larger games take longer to get done, or this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, but you're getting more games than ever before, though. So like, do you want to go back to just those games, or are you looking at the grand scheme of the landscape and all of the games that we're getting all the time?
I mean,
Like,
that 667, that's over the entire lifetime, right, of that console, that older console. That is the number of games that come to a console in 1 year today. Less than.
Yeah, like perspective, man. Perspective. It's
That's
just
crazy.
I wanted
that's
to
just
bring
including the
that up.
officially licensed ones, right? That's not including like
Yeah,
the
that's
Tengen
officially
or Tengen or whatever it was.
Yeah, those are officially licensed for the entirety of the NES.
Gotcha.
Like, I had to double check after he was talking about it on the show because, like I said, there's been a big argument about, how long it takes for certain games to get made, or because there's always the stigma around hyper realism that always see people say, and I'm like, yeah, but you guys have also been waiting like a decade for like Silk Song, so like I'm like, it clearly is not exclusive to quote unquote hyper realism. The reality is, and this was the thing that again Logic stated on the show, things differentiate between the developer, the manpower available. Tammy was also pregnant during development. Uh, like, there's so many reasons why things take the amount of time that they take. But again, we're in an era where we get so many games that, like, people almost come off as like ungrateful, to be honest, like, just because there's so many that I've had this conversation with Morgan. I was like, how many games come out per year that none of us talk about? Like, think about the few that we do talk about, right? The few that make it on our radar, like you talked about RoboCop earlier, right?
Yeah.
RoboCop finally made it on your radar eventually.
Yeah.
And I played it
$3.99.
late. Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. And I bought it last year for like $7, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I played it and it was great. But again, how many games faltered below that line of our notice that also came out that just faded into the ether and never passed, $10,000? Right?
There's been games that I've wanted to
about.
play until like the week they're coming out, and then I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to play that anymore because this other game is coming out, or this other thing has my attention now.
Exactly.
I don't want to mess with this. And so like it happens. Like, good example for me at least, Gears of War. It comes out on the 28th. Freaking Lost Soul Aside comes out on the 28th. Why am I going to spend new game money on 2 new games when I can only play one at one time? And so, I do want to play Gears of War. I want to play through the campaign. I've never touched the game before, never touched the franchise. But I've been looking forward to Lost Soul Aside for way longer than I've been looking forward to Gears of War. And so, that's going to go down as one that I said I was going to get day one, and you know what? I'm getting Lost Soul Aside instead.
See, you did the thing. You made a decision.
I did.
And you made a choice. And I mean, ultimately, it's what. No, more games does not equal better games either. Yeah,
No,
definitely not saying that. But I was just saying there are more games delivered in more ways than ever before. That's all I'm saying. And to your other point, Warwana, that you pointed out, it's not about the amount, because again, the Game Pass theory thing doesn't even work for me, because I've stated my friend on Steam has a library of, I think, 3,500 games. I have, I think, 475 or something on Steam. I'd rather have my catalog of curated games that I have bought over the years than have access to his 5,000 games. So having access to more games does not mean it is access. Having access to a bunch of games I don't want to play does me no good. So the whole theory of a bunch of games doesn't mean anything to me.
And if I'm reading something that he said correctly, he's also pointing out, like, just because we have a lot more games, they're like Insomniac. I want their next game. I want it as fast as they can humanly get it out to me. The fact that I have a shit ton of games in my backlog to play, It
I got the
doesn't
perfect
change
answer for that. I'll tell him right now because Priscilla is going through this right now. Priscilla wants Naughty Dog's next game right now, and you know what the problem is with that. You know what I tell her? Tough shit. Like I want it too, and you know what? She got over it. You know why?
The views
Because then she
expressed and
started.
held by the panel do not necessarily reflect the views expressed and held by the gaming den at large. Go ahead. Continue.
No. But the reason why I tell her that though is because she played and discovered like 10 other games that she found out that she was looking forward to and that she's excited for. So she's still excited for Intergalactic, and so am I. But the moment she realized there were these 10 other games that she wanted to play, all of a sudden it lessened the need for that game to be immediate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like she's still hyped for it. I'm foaming at the mouth for Witcher 4. I would kick in the door and watch and just profusely stare at screens in CD Projekt Red's headquarters if I thought I could get away with it.
Can I just hang
Like,
out here?
that's how bad I want it. Yeah, like for real. Like I told him, I was like, bro, I will get the coffee if it means you will let me in the door. Like just let me watch. Like I want to go between the Witcher team and the next Cyberpunk team. I want to be a fly on that wall. Like I want to see every single thing y'all are doing because I am that hungry for both of those games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm looking less forward to all the other games that I have on my plate right now. So as gamers, one of the things that we tend to do, especially nowadays with all these games, we're always excited for the next thing, but I always tell people, don't forget to be excited about the games that have been delivered and that are sitting in your lap right now. Because we often talk about, me and Morgan often do this ridiculousness where we sit there when a game launches and we sit on the title screen and we press start at the same time. It's super unnecessary. They're single player games. It doesn't matter. But the point is, there's a time when we did that with Expedition 33, and I was like, man, I told her, I was like, can you imagine we were looking at this game at one point and all the excitement we felt, and I'm about to press start. Like people got to remember to enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
From all the other games they're excited for, because we're always going to be looking forward to the next game. Always.
Yeah, that's a good point. And War, I don't understand, like the whole Naughty Dog thing. Yeah, you must be talking to somebody else on the panel because I don't really defend Naughty Dog. I can't stand most of what they put out, or have put out, and some of the decisions that have been made there. So that's not me.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's not
we
me.
could talk about Naughty Dog and their practices and all other stuff, but that would take all night.
Let's move on to GTA 6 and online age verification checks.
Oh boy.
Because this shit is like Skynet. Like, hey, we're just willingly hand over all your shit. Now, yes, before I even get involved in this topic at all, I fully understand the pushback is, well, you do it with social media, you do it on your accounts, they already have access to your phones, they already have access to all this, blah, 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 what's one more thing? I get it. But at least those ways use like sleazy terms and conditions practices to grab my shit. It's not just me going, okay, here, have it willingly. As a matter of fact, let me upload a picture of my ID just so I can play certain features in your video game. So,
Exactly.
I understand that there is this slippery slope argument that we could go down. I'm trying to avoid going down that, to focus on this in the context of gaming and what it means for games going forward. Now, this is starting in the UK. This is an article from Push Square. Let me come over here and get my screen up properly. There we go. So, here's essentially what leaked right here. We need to verify your age, face scan, or scan ID. GTA 6 might make you pass an age verification check to access PS5 online features if a newly leaked update for the current GTA Online client is anything to go by. Posted online by Rockstar leaker Tez2, The multiplayer portion of GTA 5 will soon ask players to verify their age. Last week, the leaker claimed Rockstar is planning on rolling out age verification checks in the near future, in quotes. They're going to do this region by region. Now they've posted pictures of the screen you'll see when selecting GTA Online. In the main menu, you'll see this message: please verify your age to access online features. Then he posts another thing that says, jokes aside, Rockstar is planning to implement age assurance checks in the near future, rolling them out by region. You may need to verify your... Okay. Then it says, at the bottom of the article, it says, of course, the chances of this age verification will be in GTA 6 in response to the UK's new online safety laws and acts. New Online Safety Act laws. These age checks have rolled out across websites in recent weeks, restricting access to those other websites, as well as forcing UK users to confirm their age to access Discord and more. However, some savvy PS5 owners have used Norman Reedus' face from Death Stranding 2 to get around the checks over fears of privacy. The age checks require you to make facial expressions, and Death Stranding 2, funnily enough, facilitates that with its extensive photo mode and incredible visuals. I just wanted to make sure I got that last part in there because that's funny as hell. Like, that last part's hilarious. Okay. Back to the doom and gloom and Big Brother's taking over and all of our data is going to be everywhere, and to play games that have an M rating or to access online features of games that have M ratings, you may have to do an age verification check by scanning your ID or doing a face scan. Logic, this is, like, you said you work in tech, you said you work in these areas, like, is this... What's your thoughts on this? I'm not even going to give you a leading question, just what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I'd say first thing is I'm personally more bothered by the notion of Battlefield 6 requiring you to have a TPM in order to play the game. And I don't plan on playing Battlefield 6, but I find that more offensive, particularly for a multiplayer game that has kernel level anti-cheat. But at any rate, so for people who haven't been tracking, right, you have things going on over in Europe like GPDR as a start. And then you have China. If you haven't studied China and their approach to video games, particularly for minors, this is actually not unusual for, like, if you were in China. There are limits upon the number of hours that minors can play video games. There's other restrictions around, like, online gameplay. There's times of day, all sorts of things. And many games in China do require facial recognition checks in order for you to log into the game. And then there's obviously, like, stat tracking around, you know, your online digital identity. So it's unfortunate that it's going in this direction. I find this to be a particular, like, I would never play a game that required anything like this. The notion that at whatever gaming PC that I'm at, or, you know, how they're going to make this work on console, I don't know. How they're going to force it to work, because the vast majority of the market on console doesn't have pictures. Now, they may do it kind of third-hand extended, meaning, like, you have an account and, you know, you can upload a photo or whatever to that account. You can... there could be a cross-link to the mobile app on your phone, and so you could obviously, you know, like with Apple devices, when you use Face ID or you use Touch ID, that image, that map of your face, the map of your fingerprint is all resident on the phone. It never leaves, and so there can be shared credentialing, like, on phone to complete that check, and then it sends that message back to the mothership and then allows you to access the game. The whole point of this is, if you tracked how complicated, right, my discussion of that is super PETA, right? And so, yeah, it's just super inconvenient. However, I do also see their side, right, where they're coming from, because we're clamping down now in the U.S. as well on, you know, where people are allowed to be, particularly minors, and what they're allowed to participate in. So you have the YouTube rules that just recently got refreshed, right? If you're a minor, and things that you have to have if you're a minor and you're trying to live stream, right? The parent has to, you know, parent or guardian supposedly has to be there. They have to like be visible on stream in order to do that. So you just have a lot of kind of wackadoodle stuff going on right now. That look, I don't know that I would quite use the label now of like police state or like, dystopian, right? Or, Hunger Games kind of stuff going on. But you definitely have some like things that are kind of wackadoodle going on now in terms of, the freedoms that have previously been enjoyed. But like I said, I also understand people are trying to, corporations are trying to protect their liability. And so, there are going to be things.
Go ahead.
What's that?
I thought you were about to say
No.
protect the kids. I was like, wait a second.
Oh, no. They're not concerned about protecting the kids. They're concerned about protecting their liability. They're concerned about somebody coming after them with a class action lawsuit, right? That, even if they win, just ties them up in court for a lot and requires, expenditure of a lot of money and, the legal firms that they keep on retainer. So, and I have to say, like, a thing for consumers to consider, right? And I get it. Like this probably should likely like make everybody like get up in arms. It's not having that effect on me because like it's not a huge priority for me to be able to play like GTA 6. Now, if something like this is in front of, well, two things. If something like this is in front of Red Dead Redemption 3, but in particular, if something like this gets shoved in our face to play a single player game because it also has a multiplayer online component to it, that will be a problem. But just a thing to consider like about consequences is before you get all up in arms about this, just consider, right? Remember that a lot of the things that we live through now are because a corporation didn't protect its liability. They got a class action lawsuit. And after they lost that case, like there was an entire behavioral reset that went on for an entire industry of things that people like corporations will now like just not do because one company lost the case, right? And now everybody lives in fear of that happening to them, right? So like coffee gets served a certain way now at a fast food restaurant because one lady spilled hot coffee on herself and there was a lawsuit. Right,
starting to bot again.
Yeah, you're bot.
I don't want you to lose it while you're.
Go, you guys go.
Okay.
So he said a lot.
He did. And I agree with all of it.
A lot. So the one thing I don't ever think that your ID should be required to play the game. I think an ID should be required to purchase the game. I'm totally fine with that. Some sort of age verification on the purchase of titles, I'm okay with that. Yes, the younger brother can still get on the PlayStation and buy it using mommy's credit card on Bubba's account. I get that. But at some level, I don't want corporations policing what I can or cannot do. And if I try to do something that's out of way, if I say, hey, let's say, hell, pick a game, Cyberpunk 2, okay? Say Cyberpunk 2 comes out in 4 more years. My son will be 15 by then. Holy crap, that's weird to think about. Whoa, Lord. Anyways, my son will be 15 by then. When he's 15, I might look at him and go, you know what? Yeah, you can play that. There does not need to be a corporate entity in the world that looks at me and goes, well, he still has to do an age verification. No, he doesn't, assholes. He did it with me. Like, that's...
Yeah, but see, that right there is the problem, right? Like, I'm already the guardian over all the kids' accounts, the nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
You know how it's regulated? I go in the family app on the PlayStation, and I say, well, Nevaeh's a big girl, and she knows better, so I say 17 unrestricted. And it never bothers me again because I know what I'm doing. I control that. That's my family.
Exactly.
And they have no right to tell me and mine's what to do. Just like when I was 12 and I got to watch rated R movies.
Correct.
Because my mom said
I saw
so.
Half-Baked when I was 13.
That is my mom's proclivities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the problem right now. That's becoming very dangerous. The other problem I have, and the real big problem I have, is this is 2 seconds away from a mass data leak and identity theft breach that is going to rock the entire planet. because mark my words, none of these people are ever. There is no such thing as a place that is 100% secure.
Nope.
And it just isn't. As long as that thing has touched the internet at some point or at some time, or they're storing it and they can remote access it. And trust me, someone always will, because someone always thinks they know better until someone better comes along and breaches it, because there's always someone out there looking to I always tell people, if there's a lock being made, someone's ready to break it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the first time you tell someone you can't break it, oh, it's all over. Like and this is before, right, like the real hackers and stuff that are out there that can already get to you if they really wanted to. Like I remember watching a thing where a guy was interviewing like this top tier hacker, and he was like, okay, like, I give you permission to like show me what you could do if you really wanted to come after me. And the guy said, of course, he told him later, he was like, look, you don't have to worry about people at my level coming after you. We go after corporations, we'll go after corrupt officials, we go after this, that, and the third, right? But he showed him, bro, in about the time when he was interviewing him, he had his social security card, he had his medical records, he had, this man had this guy's entire life in front of him in about 5 to 10 minutes.
Good Lord.
Now imagine how easy you're making it for people to get in and get some of this stuff if you're being forced to upload it here, there, and everywhere. Like the credit bureaus can't even guard your stuff correctly.
Oh God, no.
Like, yeah, like there was the mass breach from I forgot which one
Experian?
of the. I think it was Experian, and you know what? All they did, the CEO stepped down. I don't care that she stepped down. My data was breached. Like stuff where people could open up a credit line in a house, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that she stepped down. They're like, oh, the CEO stepped down. All right, cool. Like, she's probably gonna get hired somewhere else in 20 minutes. Like, that's irrelevant. Like, it doesn't fix the problem. And lo and behold, this is going to be the next thing that gets leaked, because it always happens. They can't unless your data was in a Faraday cage and you uploaded it by walking inside of it, and that thing was never connected to the internet. You know what? I'll guarantee you someone will probably never get to it. Because that is about as secure as you could ever get, is a air-gapped computer in a Faraday cage that has never been connected to the internet and never will be. But that is not how any of this works, right? All this is a bunch of
who's going to deliver that to my house so I can step inside and upload my ID? That's what I want to know.
Exactly. And now they're just like, oh, willy-nilly, just throw your ID on everything, on anything and everything, on all this other stuff. That, number one, that's just a data breach. Number two, now you got to worry about who has access to knowing what is tied to what. How long before they want to make it tied to your, well, we want to make sure on social media the stuff you're viewing and that you're an adult. No, you don't, because what you want to know is that you can tie that email address from that easily to me. Now that thing I said on social media got me in trouble over here, when they're completely unrelated, but because my ID is on it and someone has access to it who I didn't know about, is now tying two things that have nothing to do with each other. The same way, like it's already happening, right? Like, they're already scanning people's social medias, like, that don't even are just completely unrelated. Like, somebody had came in the country the other day. Imagine flying an international flight, getting here, and they tell you can't get in because they checked a tweet on your Twitter that they didn't like, and they're like, we're gonna put you on the first flight back. You cannot enter the United States. Goodbye. Because of a tweet, my guy. A tweet. I paid, I don't know, whatever the hell it costs to fly from Africa, $1,500 or whatever, and you turn me around and tell me I can't enter the country. I'm not giving you your money back. I'm just gonna put you on the next flight back, and you can't enter the country because you tweeted something that we didn't like. I was like, last time I checked, TSA's job is not scanning my social media. Number one, how you even know my social media? But again, This is what I'm talking about, the violations and stuff that the companies or places having your data are just aggregating all this stuff. And another way, like I said, another way to track you, because that is ultimately what will happen, right? Tying your email address to your ID to this, which will make all this stuff easier to identify you across a bunch of different platforms and know anything and everything you're doing. And the biggest thing right now, that is constantly being sold on the back end that companies are not supposed to be, but they're selling your data.
Well, sure.
And this is even worse because now, like I said, when that data leak happens,
the terms and conditions by saying with us and our affiliates. Well, who the fuck do you affiliate with?
They say that, but then now think, if before it was just your email and password, you log in, you change your password, but now that dump that's now on the dark web that they're selling for $5 or 50 cents, an ID, now has your ID on it. It has your address. It has, your eye color, your weight, your potentially your freaking blood type. Like it can get very, very bad very quickly, and none of these people, like I said, can guarantee that it won't happen, because it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's a matter of when it will happen. And I already know. Logic hasn't said it, but Logic is back. But Logic, I don't even want to know what that day looks like in IT, but I know it's going to be crazy.
So hopefully I'm not botting now. If I do,
you are botting.
You're still botting.
Jeez. Okay.
Oh man, I know he was about to say some dope.
No shit. All right, hang on. Everything is fine on this end. My Discord is green, and my stream shows.
Yeah, but sometimes, like he said, it's just Discord. Like your internet will be fine, but then like the Discord server will act weird. It sucks.
Shouldn't it act weird for all of us then?
Not necessarily.
God, okay.
Welcome to the fun part of the internet. Yeah.
Man, I knew he was. This is his space too, dude. Like I knew he was gonna. This was gonna be.
Oh
good.
yeah, he was about to. He was about
I
to tear
didn't
it up.
call Rockstar and be like, "Hey guys, can y'all leak these photos this week? Cause I got Logic coming on." Like, no, this just shit happened. Like,
oh yeah.
I
don't know. He might try it now. Maybe he's not.
Looking at people right now.
Try it.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he noticed he still was. But yeah, Logic knows. Like I said, like I remember like not too long ago, just to give you an idea of like stuff that happens. Like people, like stuff gets leaked so often that half the time the news don't even report it anymore.
Mm-mm.
Like there was a leak. Like I forgot, people were giving PlayStation smoke one week, and I was just laughing because I was like, y'all are over here worried about PlayStation and this one basic thing that it was something stupid, right? And that same week, Microsoft's backend systems or something had gotten breached in like the UK, and patient data had gotten leaked because basically there was an exploit left in the Windows Defender or something like that week, and they like patient data, bro. Stuff that is protected by like HIPAA and like, doctor, patient privilege and type shit. Like your entire blood workup and all the other stuff that's potentially in your stuff. Like, yeah, exactly. Like Josh said, Microsoft's backend gets hacked repeatedly. Like it's constantly happening. And these are the people that you just want me to hand over my ID. You want me to take a picture of my whole ass ID and you want me to give it to you. Like, bro, I don't even want to say I'm sketchy about sending my ID to HR. Even though I know the person in HR. I'm like, you need me to scan my ID on my computer and then send it to you via email. Like the speed at which I'm about to delete that email after I send it, erase the photo, erase the file, I probably sent it encrypted, like, and even then it could still get intercepted. Like, but that's what I'm saying. And then they're just telling you to put this, like, because that's what I'm saying. The problem isn't just like, where is it now? The problem is, where is it gonna be? Because right now it's looking like it's about to be everywhere. Like, you're talking about YouTube is about to launch this same thing in August.
Yeah.
Google another motherfucker. Sorry, who can't. but it's that serious, bro. I can't help myself. But they are another one who can't keep their stuff together. All these big tech companies are constantly getting hacked. And these are the people who are telling you, yeah, not only do we want, the data we already have on you, give us your ID with all your information on it. I'm telling you, bro, this is about to backfire spectacularly.
So here's the real question. And because yes, we could go down Skynet side of this, we could go down slippery slope sides of this, we could talk about all of it. But we are a gaming show. This is the Gaming Den. Do you think that this will, if it is linked to GTA 6, do you think that this is going to cause people to either skip the game or just like wait until the developer comes out and goes, you know what, guys, y'all are right. We're going to fight this. We're just not going to we're just going to fight it. So you don't have to do that now. Like,
no, this is their whole reason for going after GTA first is GTA is the biggest fish. If you can get the biggest fish first, everybody else is just going to be like, all right, well, yeah, what am I going to do? If the biggest gaming, if the biggest game on the planet can't fight it, what can I do?
Just upload their fucking ID and just roll with it.
Exactly.
God.
But and that's what I'm saying, and that's the scary part. That's
I
so
hate
scary.
doing the damn wheel drop down menus when I have to do an age verification to watch like a red band trailer or whatever. You have to fill out, or you have to do the little like type in your age, and you put the little scroll thing and it drops. I hate doing those now because 86 is a lot further away from 2025 than I remember it being back in the day. So I try to avoid those drop down menus now. But
no,
like,
but those were legally binding, right? Like, as long as you clicked yes I am and this is who I am, like, they were legally like cool, like their liability was protected.
Yep.
This user said that they were this age to view this content, so we're legally cool. That's why I said them wanting your ID is something else. It's not about verification because they already had age verification on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was legally binding that if you were the person who said that's how old you were or whatever, you were cool. But now it's become, no, we want your ID. And like I said, no, because the thing that they have is they have all the rest of that data, right? But what makes it easier to tie to you, the person, to tie to your whole name, right? Like your government issued name is your government issued ID with your address and all this other stuff. And now they will have a database with all your email addresses and your email addresses and your ID tied to all these things, so they can check at any given time frame anything you've ever signed up for or look for you. Like, you can, I think you can still search for people on Twitter, look them up by their email or something, but there's a lot of stuff that you could look people up specifically by their email address. Now imagine if someone had a database of email addresses with the IDs, and look how easy that is. And now I can cross-reference a bunch of back-end stuff that I have access to because now I'm with the DoD or whoever is looking this stuff up, and now I'm pulling stuff out that you won't even remember you did when you know what I mean, because now all this stuff is coming back to you tied to your email address or whatever other thing. And like I said, all these things turn into a bunch of cross references and stuff, but it gets crazy. But like I said, it invading gaming is bad enough, and it's just gonna get worse unless they stop it. And honestly, like I said, the fact that the world is essentially agreeing to this should tell you everything you need to know. Like, yeah. So I'll tell people, anytime the government around the world agrees on something, it's never good.
It's probably a bad idea.
Never. Yeah, exactly.
Or at least
it's
shady
like, wait a
at
minute.
best. It's shady at best.
Yeah, like, y'all argue about feeding your people, like basic stuff. Like, we need corn. All right, cool. I'm gonna argue with you about corn, tariffs, and trade agreements for the next 7 months, despite my people being hungry. But y'all all agreed on this in 5 minutes. Oh yeah, y'all plotting. That's what y'all doing. So yeah, it's whether it's gaming related or whatever, like you said, it's just dangerous. And like I said, that's why they're going after GTA first. Like I said, you get the biggest one, and everybody else will essentially shut up.
That's gross. This
So-
is where Will 777 JP's series of Will It Play Without Internet comes in handy. Like, this is why. This is
Well,
why.
that's what I had this conversation with Priscilla earlier before I got out the car. Is that preservation is going to be the new fight? Like, it's been a fight for a while, but it's becoming more and more of a thing as we go along. And basically, they strip away more and more of your ownership. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know what I'm saying, you need the homie with, you know, the 50 100 terabyte drives loaded with all the movies and all the shows that you always liked, because Lord knows when they're coming for those. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why, like, earlier when Logic used the term, you know, dystopian, it's like, I mean, yeah, we might not be there yet, but you know, they're definitely each of these governments seem to be racing there at light speed to see who can win the race. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Man, Logic, you got cut off earlier because of your mic. Is there anything else you want to add to this real quick?
Well, just quickly, let me check again. Am I still botting?
Nope, you're good.
No, you're good.
Okay, so the thing I was going to say, and I'll try and get this quickly in before I start botting again, and I would definitely say write this down because so many people don't know. If you do not have your credit frozen at all 3 credit bureaus, do that tomorrow at the latest. Like, if you want to protect your ID, and the thing that's going to impact you can use directly, freeze your credit. It is free. You don't have to have an account. The 3 bureaus. It's easy to do. But you know, build it online, figure out your credit, and get your credit frozen. And what that does, that prevents anybody from opening an account in your name. And what it means is when you want to go apply to credit, you're going to have to. It's called putting it on a thaw, so you can set it to unfreeze your credit at a specific time and date, and then automatically freeze it back. And so, like, when I have to go apply for credit for something like that, or, you know, if I'm buying a house or something, I set like a thaw for like a certain period of time, like 72 hours, and then it auto freezes, so I don't forget to do it myself. But do that. That will make your life, at least as far as immediate crises, will take care of, you know, some level of protection, and it doesn't cost you any money.
Huh.
That's good advice. I did not know that.
Why the shit doesn't that just do that automatically? Like,
I can tell you why. It's
because the credit bureaus make money.
Yeah, well, yeah, the credit bureaus make money, but also for regular people who are not tech inclined and stuff, they consider every form of security an inconvenience. Trust me, I have to go through this all the time with work, like, where people just they don't even want to do 2-factor authentication. Like, and
Yeah,
then like
so,
they wonder why their stuff gets hacked all the time.
Right. So that's the way normals will be. But yeah, but the credit companies, like the credit bureaus, the credit card companies, everybody who, like, look, the only reason, like, everybody is concerned about keeping a good FICO score, right? The only reason you need a good FICO score is so that you can borrow money from people, right? So there's that. But, like, look, it's a way of life, particularly here in America, so fine. But yeah, it's not heavily advertised. Like, it's not put on Front Street, right, to tell you how to do this, and it's not a norm in our society because they don't want, like, those companies don't want you to have the inconvenience of applying for credit. They want you to be able to go to a web page, pick up a phone, dial a 1-800 number or whatever, and immediately request like a pre-approval, right, and run it in 30 seconds and give you a new credit card. So that's why it's not, you know, well known or well advertised.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, it's shocking how easy it is to
and I'm looking over here in the chat too, and like they're talking about two-step verifications or two-factor verifications. Godsends
there are
stuff,
people whose PlayStation accounts are worth about $10K that didn't have two-factor authentication on until they got hacked. I was like, what do you mean you don't have two-factor on? I was like, bro, you should have two-factor on everything. Okay, like stuff that you don't even think of, they're trying to get into now. Priscilla's Starbucks account got logged into from like Sri Lanka the other day, and we had to put on two-factor.
What?
I was like, why are you in her Starbucks account, bruh? Like, so we had to lock that down. Like stuff that I'm the nerd, you know, and so is she, and we forget to put two-factor on silly stuff like that. And it was like, bro, y'all really trying to get in the Starbucks account? And like before she got back in it, they had loaded like a card on there, and then see the other thing somebody might not do, right? So she got it back, but the first thing you have to do, you need to transfer that money off of that card they put on there, because now you have to remember, if you've ever seen what Starbucks app looks like, you can like scan like a what do you call it? I don't know why I'm tripping.
QR code?
What is it? The card? A gift card. You can scan a gift card into it, right? And it creates a virtual one. But you have to remember that person that got into your account has that same code, right? So they could scan it in another app. So if you do not remove that one from your thing and you just added money onto it when you went to go to Starbucks, they could they could basically transfer any amount you ever put on there, because they have that same card on whatever Starbucks other account that they have. Like it's complicated, bro. Like there's a bunch of schemes, but obviously we removed it and like transferred the amount and deleted that card immediately. But like that's another thing somebody might not think of. They might get into your account for a second, do something that you might not notice, and then you get it back, and then people are like, wait a minute, like I thought I locked it down, you know, and then not realizing something like that, you know, had happened, or people won't think to do that. So yeah,
I'll piggyback one more security recommendation. Am I botting or am I clear?
No, you're clear.
No, you're clear.
Okay. For your two-factor authentication, because I see a lot of people in the chat saying they use 2FA, just my personal recommendation, you don't have to follow it, just my personal recommendation, use an app for two-factor authentication, right? That you have backed up and that you have keys for. Don't just do like, I'll call it lazy 2FA, right? With like, texting a code to like your cell phone number. I don't even recommend really.
Personal. Now it's getting personal.
Yeah.
See now
Yeah.
you're in my court. No.
Look, I know I do the text number sometimes just because like I'm trying to get something done quickly, and I don't have like that account like registered to my 2FA, but like use Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Authy, Duo, something like that. I would recommend. Don't even do like the 2FA like to your email address. I would just recommend doing it with an app. I personally feel that's more secure.
I have like almost all my stuff that way, but he's telling you that because a lot of times they can spoof some of that stuff, or you can spoof the number and still get the 2FA and stuff like that. So that's why you go through that, and the app is constantly rotating that number. And
it's like a like
safer.
Blizzard's key, like the Battle.net, like the way they used to do your authenticator.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, that's back when I played WoW. I had a second authenticator. It was an app I had to download, and you would go on, you would do username, password, sign in, and then it would tell you to generate a code on your app. You would generate the code, type in that code, and then you were able to access your World of Warcraft. And so
yeah, but it was specific to that authenticator.
Oh, 100%.
So that was the key. To the point where they even came out with hardware authentication, where I mean, and some people definitely need this because some people have been playing WoW for like 15 years, but where you would have like a thumb drive that was basically the key to get into your account, and that was the only way you could get into it. So yeah, I mean that hardware authentication is crazy. Like I've always been like, man, I'm gonna lose that thumb drive or something. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to go that far, but
All
But
right, we're
yeah,
about to make
there's
the
a
worst
bunch of stuff.
transition ever here. Speaking
Yeah,
of
go for it.
hardware authentication, we have a game that is coming over to a brand new hardware for the very first time. It's been speculated about, it's been talked about, it's been defended, it's been hated against, it's been everything. People have burned their PS5s for it. They've gone out and bought X. Well, I don't know about that other one, but like this game coming over to this other platform, to this other device, is causing a bit of a stir, and well, we have more information about it today. This is coming from Game Ranks. No, not Game Ranks. Good channel, not what I'm referencing. Game Rant, rather. And basically, it's going to take us through kind of who's responsible, how did it happen, what went on. And so let's look at this. I think one of the coolest things they've done, Helldivers 2 CEO reveals Sony's role in bringing the game to Xbox. Okay, so first off, right off the bat, boom, this is what we all have been talking about. This is what a lot of people have been wanting to know. I've been wanting to know it. What was Sony's involvement in this? Was it Xbox gave him a bag? Was it Arrowhead like strong-armed him? Was it Sony wanted to put it over there for whatever fucking reason they have? We're going to find out today, I hope. It says Helldivers 2's CEO Shams, has revealed that although Arrowhead Game Studios supported the decision, Sony's role was crucial in bringing the game to Xbox. On August 26th, Xbox players will finally be able to join Helldivers 2 Battlefield in a historic day for the entire video game industry. Arrowhead has known how to handle the post-launch development of Helldivers 2 pretty well, with the game evolving at light speed thanks to Helldivers 2's unique live service approach. Arrowhead has managed to evolve the game a lot over the last year and a half, delivering the content that fans ask for, addressing their feedback, and more. The game has a steady flow of updates, blah, 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 blah. Scroll down just a little bit. Although Arrowhead should be credited for this, the studio... Here we go. Although Arrowhead should be credited for this, the studio's head said fans should thank, the developer was mainly responsible for, shouldn't think the developer was mainly responsible for it. Sorry, reading is hard. Arrowhead CEO says Sony is mainly responsible for bringing Helldivers 2 to Xbox. In an exchange between Helldivers 2 CEO and players on the game's official Discord channel, he revealed that Sony is the one players should be thanking. It was all PlayStation, he wrote. Even though he acknowledges Arrowhead's role in bringing Helldivers 2 to Xbox Series X and S, he made it clear that this was Sony's call. Adding, I think it's one of the coolest things they've done. They're killing it. The CEO also praised Sony by saying that Arrowhead gets a lot of help from PlayStation testing and bug fixing teams. So, this is the paragraph. This is where our questions got answered, and I have another one that arises because the way the wording is here is it was all PlayStation, right? And then it was he made it clear that it was Sony's call. So obviously it's going to be Sony's call. It's their published title. So duh.
Now you're using your rational thinking.
Right, like, duh. It was Sony's call. That's one of the dumbest statements you could put in there. Of course it was Sony's call. The thing that gets me is that he writes in here, or he says that it was all PlayStation. So what that sounds like to me is that PlayStation actually approached Arrowhead and said, hey, we want to send this game over to Xbox. Because it was all them. I'm not even going to get caught up on the fact that it was their call. No shit, it was their call. That's like Devil May Cry going to mobile. That's a Bandai Namco call. Or Capcom, sorry. Like, duh. They're the ones who own the freaking game. It's their call. But
Exactly.
when saying it's all PlayStation, this brings me back to the question that I had with Falky. And the entire time, we couldn't figure it out. I've talked to Falky, I've talked to Jez, I've talked to the people in the Discord, and I literally arrived back to, this does not make any freaking sense. I have two different voices on here now for this. Can one of y'all make it make sense outside of, oh, it's just money? Because I don't know how much they're expecting to make off of this transition over to taking Helldivers 2 to Xbox. So, Logic, do you have anything that's going to make this sound clearer, or not sound clear, but be clearer in, like, what's your perspective on this? On why Sony would do this?
My only thought is, and again, if I'm botting, just let me know. My only thought on this is, and I don't know exactly like when in the timeline this conversation went down. The only thing I can think is the thing started taking off and going bonga, and the success level surprised them. And so in that moment in time when they were either asked the question or they proposed the question, they just said, hey, this thing is having way more traction than we thought it would. Why not go ahead and just put it over on Xbox too?
But what do they have to gain from it? Like,
so, I mean, like you said, money, right? And I don't mean like, so the ROI and putting it on Xbox, I would be less concerned about the CapEx, right? The upfront investment expenditure to put it over on Xbox, and more concerned about the OpEx, right? The continuing O&M and maintaining it and supporting it, and supporting whatever additional level of traffic that is coming through a knock, and then maintaining the additional branches and versions, with content updates and fixes. That I would be more concerned about, and that's where I can see, like, if the uptake isn't enough, that, like, I don't know how long it would last or whether or not they would figure out a way to get out of it. But putting it over there isn't that big of a leap, because they've already put it on PC. And they've already had enough soak time, to deal with getting it over there. Getting it to be performant on the Series S might have been, a little bit of an additional challenge. But again, they've taken a year and a half, right, to put it over there. So I think that level of challenge is surmountable for them without a ton of worry about additional investment. So that's the only thing I can think of.
I guess. Enate, what? I'm still scratching my head like a monkey looking at a math problem, so none of this makes any sense. This article would have made so much more sense if the Arrowhead dude came out and said, listen, guys, it took a lot of convincing, but can you believe what we were able to get accomplished and how Sony actually was able to agree with us finally? Like, that makes more sense in my brain space than Helldivers 2 is coming. Like, it just doesn't... So help me, Enate. Help me.
Yeah, so, yeah, I just think however they're reporting this is just whatever. The wording is whatever. I wouldn't even latch onto that. The timeline, right, actually shows that Arrowhead is the one that wanted this. And this is the difference, because I don't need the article. I followed the CEO when he was speaking about all this stuff. And a lot of them were on social media championing this, especially the CEO of Arrowhead. So regardless of whether him saying, Sony was instrumental, of course they were. It's their IP, right? Like, they had to greenlight it. They had to help them. They largely helped them, like you stated, with testing and all this other stuff, right? So of course they are. They're instrumental in getting it over there. They were instrumental in removing all the blocks on Steam when they had all the region blocks, right? And all this other stuff. PlayStation has to be involved in every aspect of it. But regardless, they're the ones that wanted it. And largely because another thing, whether or not you love or, and you're still playing Helldivers 2, a large portion of us have quit Helldivers 2, have not touched it, do not want to play it, and none of these middling, basic, corny updates that they have given us are going to bring us back to it. So what do you need then? If the fan base who you had, who already made an investment in the game, is no longer investing, you try to do what they all do, which is, inject new blood into the game. Every game tries to do this in whatever way or capacity they can manage to do it. When they're a live service, whether it's pivoting to a different strategy or whatever, Exactly. You look at new markets. That
Mhm.
a new market is always going to generate something. Your hope is that it generates enough buzz and enough people get pulled in so that, Ronnie, Bob, Ricky, and Mike, who all were foaming at the mouth, who are my friends who wanted to play Helldivers, will pull me back in, and then I'll invest and I'll cop a couple credits or whatever. And then now we're all back in the ring, and then they get ready to actually drop a significant update. That's the hope that I believe they're working with here right now. Because like Logic said, I don't think the upfront cost to port this game at this point was really that serious. That it's already like a foregone conclusion, like it was already a thing. But I think this is more about them trying to reinvigorate the game. As last time I checked, they had dropped over 60% of their player base or something like that. So again, largely because they're not really doing anything significant to bring people back. That's just like, oh my god, the game really leveled up. It's like a whole different thing. Helmets, now increase your scan range and do all this other crazy stuff. And again, like, when was the last significant update that came across your timeline that had everybody going, fight for freedom and democracy? I mean, you couldn't escape this game
Mm-mm.
when it first came out, right? There were skits everywhere. People were going crazy. You had people literally quoting this game outside of gaming because it was so pervasive. All the skits and all the craziness. For democracy and everything. Like it was literally inescapable. And now crickets. And it's like, again, like I said, a lot of people like Logic said, they did get blindsided by the success. Originally, they spoke about that. They had to spend a bunch of time ramping up, trying to, get these updates. And like I said, if you love the updates, cool, you know what I'm saying? But for me, like they haven't done anything really significant enough. The last thing that I remember that was the bigger thing was like them bringing the mechs and all that stuff. And that was ages ago. That was before I even quit. So
That was before I stopped.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like they haven't done anything like major. And again, but what they're running into to me is they're running into what I call the live service wall, right? When a game launches and it launches well, good job. But if it's a live service game, your real test hasn't even started till you get into the live service portion. Like this is where Destiny 1 did phenomenal, right? But even Destiny 2 ran into the live service wall where eventually people started looking at them expansion prices and were like, last time I was on Destiny, that assault rifle they added would look like the assault rifle I had before, but wrapped in some leaves from the jungle, and then they called it an exotic. Like people start noticing how much effort and how significant of an update you're putting in, and is it worth them putting in that time, money, and effort, or either of those things, right? While I've got all these other games to play. And again, I state this because again, I believe a lot of studios underestimate what it takes to bring significant updates to a live service game, and I believe they're no different. So this was the lowest common denominator as far as like what could we do that would cost us the least to potentially get the most return on what, and even if it's not cash, right? A pure super injection of cash. What it is we're hoping we'll get a significant number of people to play, to also pull in people who used to play, like, and reinvigorate it. And then, like I said, but if they don't have a significant update coinciding with this, it's irrelevant. That's going to be like that is going to be a splash in the water. It is going to be a ripple effect on a pond from a single stone thrown, and then the water is going to go back calm, and the game's going to fade into the background. And we're going to talk about the yesteryears, about how great the launch of this game was, and then it faded into blackness.
Then it just faded away.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it's really about. And like I said, regardless of whatever the wording here is, I would just ignore that. Like I actually, like I said, I followed the actual timeline of the CEO's comments on Twitter, him talking to Xbox fans and telling them, this is something we want to do. We want to bring the game to Xbox. We'll see what we can do. This, that, and the third. Like, I mean, he was essentially, it got to a point where coming near the decision for this, that he was essentially dang near begging. Like, I'm begging PlayStation, y'all. We're going to get it done. You know, and I get it. Because for him, this is a way to potentially reinvigorate their game. And I think, like, that's what they need. And I get it. Like I said, supporting a live service game is tough. Creating significant updates is tough. And again, I think they just underestimated it. Hopefully they don't again with whatever they do next. But yeah, I try to explain this to a lot of people as someone who was in the live service stuff for a while. And I'm the first person to jump ship when you get stale. Like, I will tell you immediately. But again, one game that people love to bring up all the time, there's a reason why that game keeps going, is because they have so many people supporting this game and so many different things happening for this game all the time that you can't even see straight. And that is Fortnite. You know, whether or not you like Fortnite, it has been inescapable from pop culture from the moment it's came out. It's in the news right now. It's all over my timeline. You know why? Because the Power Rangers are coming and Voltron.
Jesus.
Like yeah, like it's insane. It's all over my timeline. Like whether or not I wasn't even playing, and it's all over my timeline. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they know how to secure. They know how to secure the brands. They know how to secure the updates. And before that, the ballistic mode was all over my timeline, and Slow-Mo was talking about it and going crazy. And that they introduced the FPS ballistic mode. Then they introduced the quick drop mode. I forget what it's called, but it's like a much smaller map where you drop down and you can respawn, and it's a whole different mode. And again, Slow-Mo was flipping out over that. And then there's a racing mode, and then there's also the mode where you could play like Legos. And then there's the other part of the game where you can basically play Rock Band on the game and pick a bunch of custom songs. Like I said, you can't stop this, man. Like I said, you might not love all the updates. It might sound crazy, and you know but it's most of these people's ADHD dream. Like, you can hop on this game and do one of 50 things, not touch the other things, and just go crazy, right? But that is the level of support and like the level of events that you need. You need to constantly be a pop culture thing. You need to constantly be in the zeitgeist or in the conversation about, dang, did you see what happened on Fortnite? Even if you don't play. Like when they did the Travis Scott concert or whatever, or somebody, and then Eminem and all this stuff, and Eminem got huge and he looked like Godzilla and stuff like that. You know where that was? All over my timeline.
Yup.
Like, Dexerto was reporting it. All just streamers were going crazy over it. Godzilla, they dropped Godzilla in the game, and the whole thing during the movie and Godzilla. Like, again, you need a support team that is big enough, robust enough, and responsive enough to give you that kind of thing. When the next Fallout game comes out, where the next season for Fallout comes out, you could bet you that all the Fallout stuff that they made is coming back, and they're gonna have a whole new line of Fallout stuff to come out with it. You gotta be that pop culture thing. You gotta keep up when it comes to that. And I mean, Logic knows. I mean, Logic doesn't probably fall victim to this stuff, but when Logic was in his live service mode and he was playing Call of Duty, every time you turn around, the Ninja Turtles movie's coming out. What's happening in Call of Duty? The Ninja Turtles showed up. Like, again, you you gotta, if you want to compete in the live service space, you need the speed and adaptability to keep up. Otherwise, you're gonna drown, and eventually your updates will be so insignificant that you will lose a large portion of your player base, and that is essentially what happened to them. This is, to me, is a last ditch effort for a player infusion. And if this doesn't work, like I said, they'll just go full force on whatever the next thing is, and whoever's still playing Helldivers 2 will just play it till the servers fizzle out a couple of years from now.
Okay, so here's the part of all of that that doesn't make logical sense to me.
Yeah.
and you hit on it at the very end right there.
Mm-hmm.
The last ditch effort to keep the game going, get it infused with players, cool.
Yeah.
I would agree with that if the game didn't come out and smash every single preconceived metric that they had for it and broke every single record that they thought they were going to break, shut down their servers for 3 days, and became this stupid phenomenon that just took over. Like you said, dude, you'd go into game stores and they would just go, "For democracy," and you're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is what we're doing. Great. Helldivers 2. Yes, awesome. Cool." Like, but like everything at least related to this game says, hey, it sold super well. It had a great run. It's made a shit ton of money for us. Why? That's the part that confuses me, is why would they go and try to keep the game going when they've literally made well above and beyond everything they wanted to make on it? And so, like, that's where that reasoning kind of falls for me, because they didn't need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain why though. Your
and
problem
I understand money,
your problem is you're thinking about this like it's a single player game. So as far as they're concerned right now, what's happening and what they need to experience is how to keep a live service game going.
Okay.
And that is the part where they are failing. So that is why, like, while it seems insignificant, because we know, we know how, lack thereof the Xbox fan base is when it comes to actually, purchasing games, right? And putting their money where their mouth is along with their playtime. But that is where they want to see, this is a test, right? Where
Well, I would I'd stick my toe in the door just one bit there. I would say the Xbox user base, not the fan base, because those are two separate demographics and behavior.
Yeah. So yeah, the Xbox user base. We kind of have an acknowledgement of their buying power, right? We'll see what that comes to. But again, like I said, this is just the last ditch effort for this particular product to see what can come of it. And like I said, you'll really get to see if they make another push. But again, you'll get to see whether or not how good or how lack thereof they will be at supporting a live service game. So live service games, you always got to remember, are always about generating more money past that initial threshold. So while they made a buku amount of money, right? And I'm sure they're still rolling in it, right? They need to see, especially if their next game is going to be the same way, how do we support that going forward? And why not test that right now with the product we have rather than the product that's 5 to 8 years from now, right? Because you got to remember, it took them 7 years or something crazy, or 10 years even, to finally do Helldivers 2, like, because they had a bunch of reboots or a bunch of other stuff that was going on and a bunch of nonsense. But again, like I said, this is about testing what they can do, what they can get out of it. And then also, you gotta also understand, it's like PlayStation's live service stuff, right, is looking at going everywhere. Marathon is going to launch on Xbox most likely. So is there, Fair Games game most likely, because they're trying to garner the largest fan base or user base for these titles when they launch them, right? But you also got to see if it's worth it, right? So that'll be another test for you to see, is if they launch this and they don't think it's worth it, then most likely next time whatever Arrowhead decides to do maybe won't see the light of day on Xbox. But at the same time, we'll be in a completely different climate by then, because their next game is obviously years away, and we're talking about next gen, whatever, PC with a Xbox logo Microsoft ends up launching.
Bro, I'm still so far into this gen. I'm not even touching any of the rest of that crap for at least another year and a half. Like, probably about another year. And then summer of next year, I might start opening up speculation and crap like that on the PS6 or whatever. But right now, dude, hell no. No. I couldn't care a rat's ass.
I mean, the only people who are looking at moving on right now are the people who lost and got, beat. I mean, like that's the reality.
One thing I want to ask. So the work to do this port, right, to get it over on the Xbox, a large amount of the heavy lifting was done by Nixxes. And so while Nixxes is doing that, they're not working on the next PC port, right, to go to PC. At least not at full strength, right? They're not working on, another remaster, right, to bring to the PlayStation itself. So question one is, do we think Nixxes is done? Like, does Nixxes not have any part in the ops and maintenance of this? Do they not have any part in the next content drop that has to go to Xbox? Because it would seem that at least that second part, that they would have to continue doing this, number one. And then this next question is this a pattern? Like, if Fair Games goes to Xbox, is Nixxes doing that? And therefore, are we seeing a investment / change in PlayStation taking Nixxes and tasking them with doing this work in perpetuity?
That is, that's a good question. But then, like you said, the problem is if they're doing that, then they're not bringing the other PlayStation titles because they can only do so much.
Well, they're not taking them to PC at that point. So
yeah,
that's what I think. Here's, and everybody in the comments, everybody in the chat, anybody who watches this afterwards, yes, you can roast me, you can say whatever you want. I don't care. But this is where you get into one game doesn't mean everything.
Yeah.
But that also sounds like the biggest line of Xbox bullshit I've ever heard. Where one game, 4 games, doesn't mean the whole slate. Okay.
Well, I'm even just pausing right now with, like, okay, just following the logical line of the rationalization of, like, why Helldivers 2 is over there, right? If Helldivers 2 is over there because it's a live service game, and live service games live or die on the maximum amount of potential players that they can address and onboard, then that means that then it would make logical sense that Fair Games would go over there. Now, let's caveat that with, GameLogic's own opinion that I find Fair Games an entirely dubious premise in the first place, right? Fair Games plus Jade Raymond plus Haven, like the whole meal of that thing, I'm just like, okay, whatever, let's see how it goes, but let's just go with it, right? And I'm saying, if Nixxes gets tasked, so Nixxes was already tasked to do this, so production pipeline, velocity, capacity wise, they've already taken a spoon and taken capacity out of that soup bowl, right, and ladled it over into the level of effort that has to go to porting a game to Xbox. If they continue to do, right, so one is, do they have to continue supporting content drops? And then do they have to continue supporting live service games that go to Xbox? Just like, even if you just limit it to that, my point is that so number one, so Sony's port pipeline is composed of Nixxes, Bluepoint, and outsourcing to Iron Galaxies. Iron Galaxies is the worst of the three. Nixxes is their number one A1 best studio to do this work. If they're being tasked to do work to put stuff on somebody else's platform, then that's 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever you call it, out of their production capacity to get stuff onto PlayStation. So my question is that the pattern that we're going to see going forward to get at least live service games onto Xbox?
I don't think we can call it. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing of, I don't think we can call it a pattern with. Is that I will say this, it could be a potential pattern.
I was gonna say it could be potential. So if we find out that they are the ones doing that, and that, like, Fair Games is not 100 fully responsible for their own porting, and Nixxes is also having to help with that, then yeah, I would agree with you that maybe we could be seeing a pattern.
That's all I ask. Just one more. I don't need to see 6 more come. I don't need to see any of that. Just give me one more. And then, but it could definitely be that. But then you have to ask the question, are they going to be... One, is that going to limit the or limit the turnaround of getting the games that they want onto PC over to PC.
Yeah, I think that's where
Well,
I'm.
it absolutely does, right?
Yeah.
So my whole thing, and what I constantly tell, particularly Xbox people, right, but everybody is like, look, like software engineering, software development is a finite bowl, right? Like call it whatever you want, and we have ways of quantifying it that are different. But let's just call it like there's 100 points of capacity for Nixus to do stuff. The moment you start taking away from that 100% to have them do other stuff, you're not doing the other stuff. You're not doing it as fast. You're not doing as much of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, unquestionably, right, tasking them to do that additional scope of work, if it should continue, means that there's work that they're not doing to get games onto PC, get games onto PlayStation itself, and not doing it in its entirety, but like not doing it as quickly at the volume and the pace in which they've been proceeding. It just means there's an additional branch of workflow that they're now involved in. And does that mean? I mean, first of all, I pointed these things out to really kind of poke holes in the notion that like this is a thing that's going to continue. I'm like, people flipping out over the job wreck. I'm like, it would bolster my confidence that that was going to be the plan if I saw recs open for engineers to do work. Like having an account manager job, like doesn't say anything, right?
Agreed.
It's really a matter of like if you're really going to go do this, then you need more people, which also flies in the face of the fact that they've recently done layoffs. You're like either in Nixus is about 100 people, like less. Bluepoint is about 100 people. I think Iron Galaxies. So all of those three studios are at varying levels of kind of like 50 to 65 people, 65 to 75 people, 75 to 85 people. They're not huge studios. So they can't do a bunch of parallel concurrent work today. If they're going to take on this additional scope, that means either A, they have to staff up, B, PlayStation needs to outsource it. There are only like two big outsourcing studios really in the industry. There's Virtuos and then really you could say Aspire, right? But those are the only two port studios that have like over 200 headcount that could take on like significant work at scale. So the likely targets of where this work could land, if this is really what PlayStation is going to do, big time, as lots of people are suggesting, like there's only so many places to do it, and until those places, if you're not outsourcing at all, right, that has an impact on the total number of games that come to PlayStation itself.
Which I feel has already been impacted this generation by various other reasons and things like live service pushes and stuff like that. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different show.
Yes, it is a topic for a different show, but I will say just before you, but it dovetails into my like. So is it likely that they're going to negatively impact their capacity to get stuff onto their own platform when they're already bathtubing, right, in this middle point to back end of the generation, and they've got to do recovery, because clearly it's a problem, and clearly I would think they would think that they would need to do something to address it. So just the whole theory seems weird to me with those holes that I would poke in it.
Yeah, this is the summer of Sony being weird, like just in multiple different facets and in multiple different ways. At least in my opinion, I've asked the question, why in the hell would you do that, so many times over this summer that it's literally, I just stopped like giving an opinion on something when it first happens. I'm just like, you know what? We're gonna wait. We're just gonna wait. I'm not gonna say a word, because this either is the dumbest thing I've ever seen and it's exactly what it looks like, or everything was supposed to happen this way and it worked out perfectly, and this is exactly what somebody in a chair somewhere decided was a great idea. And we don't usually find out those things until the aftermath. It's the same reason why new policies at your work usually start after an incident and not before, because you write policies to be reactive, and a lot of companies don't write them proactively. Even the ones that say they do are usually borrowing from somebody else's experience at a company. Like, hey, we have this in here. Hey, coffee is hot. Why? Why do you have to put that on there? Well, because somebody sued McDonald's and won, and hey, now we have to tell your dumbass that coffee is hot so you don't sue us. Like, because we take things for granted. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. When I look at a studio like Nexus, when they are doing these PC ports, I don't usually care what Nexus does at all, because I don't play PlayStation games on my PC. I have a PlayStation for that, so I don't need to. And like, that's not me saying, oh, PlayStation's great, like whatever, fuck that. Like, it's just I have it already, so I don't ever pay attention to that studio because they don't ever do anything that I'm going to be playing. With that being said, though, if there's such a rock star studio about getting things working and fixing bugs, and if they're part of that thing where they were talking about the teams coming in and working on all these issues, then couldn't we bring them in? And maybe this is speaking to a little bit what you said, Logic. Couldn't we bring them in at kind of like the end point on a game to help polish some things up, clean it up, to make sure the product ships maybe a little quicker, gets it out a little faster? I mean, y'all tell me, y'all are the PC guys. I have 4 games on my PC, 4, and one of them is a demo for Godbreakers. Like, so y'all tell me, is it smart for Sony to keep investing Nixus's time and energy in PC? So as you were talking, Logic, I know I'm dovetailing here, sorry. As you were talking, the only thing I kept thinking of was, well, maybe instead of taking Nixus to maybe 20% capacity, maybe they're about to move Nixus to 90%, 80% capacity and getting games ported over to Xbox. And in turn, breaking their ties, or breaking a little bit of their ties with the PC market. And the only reason that I could even like make that connection in my brain is because of what Enate said earlier. As soon as something drops, people are already looking how to crack it, how to get it, how to put it on the market for free, how to break the game, how to crack it wide open, as it were. And so it almost would behoove them to go away from PC, where there is this easily hackable market, to Xbox, where, yeah, it might only be 30 to 35,000 Xbox Series S and X's, but, or 30 million, sorry, not 1,000. 30 million, but they're also probably not going to be stealing and hacking your game and selling it to other console users. That's not necessarily how consoles work. So and this is why I answered your question earlier with a possibility. Like, I could maybe see that happening. And the other side of it is, though, what if it does super well and they're like, well, fuck it. Nobody stole our game, nobody cracked the file, nobody put it on a download torrent website within 20 minutes, and we're making 100% of whatever our contractual agreement is for each person on an Xbox who's playing this. That, to me, is where this could lead, and this is where I'll leave it with y'all, because I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that. Logic, I was responding directly to you, so what are your thoughts on what I just said? Do you think that that's a possibility?
So probably what I'm going to bring up are just a lot more things that cause us to ask a lot more questions.
Okay, fair enough.
Am I botting, or am I coming through okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay, so credit to no. What I'm pleading is this is definitely like a thing that where I haven't untied all the knots, right?
I got you.
So credit to Enate, who mentioned, I think on Brap last week, that like one of the problems with the people making these predictions are, like, if you're trying to get to growth, like the Xbox Series platform is a dead end street. Like they've only sold, various theories. Like they've sold somewhere between sub 30 million to definitely no more than 40 million, and they're not going to be selling a ton more. Like they've raised prices on the thing to where you can now go get a PlayStation 5 for cheaper than an Xbox Series. And so, on top of that, like to date, and maybe it's going to change, Maybe, but lots of people, right, have presumed that PlayStation is going to raise prices, and they haven't done it yet. So we get further and further into this generation where it's like you're kind of making a scenario where you have a default answer on what people are going to buy. So, like, the notion that you're going to push more games to the series platform when it's not going to have any more sell through, and I'm just dubious of the notion that you're going to send games to that platform, they're going to do well from a sales perspective when you're pushing something like Helldivers 2 when it's a paid game, and your biggest competitor on that platform is the 500 games in Game Pass. Like, that doesn't sound like a recipe for growth heading into the future. And Fair Games is who knows how far, much further out. You know, if we're lucky, another year, and you don't have any other live service games in the barrel right behind that, other than like the rework of Marathon, which is again going to take who knows how long. So it's not like you have any like rounds and salvos on standby that are coming down the pike from a live service perspective. So I just don't see like the rationale in making a push to get those games on the Xbox, you know, particularly if you're thinking about drawing the release date to them, you know, in tighter into the window of, you know, of them going on PC and PlayStation, right? If you're thinking about day and date or just a 3-month lag or something like that. So that's just weird. Now, what I will say is that Sony and Xbox are definitely talking, right? And their relationship is much more symbiotic now than it is head to head. Sony may very well know what's coming down for the Nexus.
Hey, Bossman, you are botting again.
Okay, yeah, I'll turn it over to Enate.
Okay, sorry, man. Enate, you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
hear me?
Yeah. So what'd you think of my tinfoil theory there?
With the whole thing with
About
Helldivers?
if Helldivers does well, moving Nixxes over to become an Xbox port studio and breaking their ties with PC because of the amount of hacking and piracy that happens to their games on PC.
I mean, I could see it for the live service stuff. But yeah, I don't see them 100% flipping them over. Just, you know, for whatever Xbox manages out of this. But that's I don't think they do that in general. But I also just don't believe the Xbox fan base or user base or whatever has that type of pull, nor will they actually manifest that for purchasing Helldivers 2 late. So because they can't even manage it for, you know, a lot of their own titles that are hot, so much less this. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be that in particular, but I mean, we also got to see whether or not there's even going to be an Xbox, you know, this next gen. So
there will be something with an Xbox logo on it. I promise you that.
Yeah, something like that.
we just don't know. I had somebody the other day who was so proud of themselves that they were getting rid of their PS5 when the new Xbox comes out because it's just going to be a PC Xbox combo. It's going to have everything he ever wanted in one small little box and package. And I was like, how much do you think that's going to be? Like, there's just my little jerk question that I asked him. I said, so cool, you have a super high-powered PC mixed with a console. It's this hybrid thing. So how much do you think that's going to cost you? I just want to know. I was like, because a high-end PC is going to cost you about $5,000 to $7,000. Now, if you're smart, know how to build them, in other words, if you're Enate and you can do it for cheap and you source all the parts and all that, sure, you can do it for probably cheaper than that. But top of the line, high-end, current generation, on par market, it's going to cost you quite a bit of money if you want the top. On a console, you don't have that option. You have console, or you have either a higher power or lower power version of the console, depending on what company or which one you're starting at. So I don't necessarily think that... I think that people who are supporting this Xbox, or whatever this hybrid thing might be, I think they're looking at it in the sense of, oh, it's still going to be $500. And I'm still going to be able to get all the benefits of a great gaming PC with my Xbox, and it's going to be customizable. Like, I I don't think they're ready to hear that that's going to cost about $900 to $1,000. Because I guarantee you that's what it's going to cost. It's going to be about $900 to $1,000. Hell, there's leaks out there that are saying the new fucking handheld is going to be $899 starting. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, for a handheld, I thought $500 for a Nintendo Switch 2 was astronomically stupid. But at the same time, it's Nintendo. They get away with it because they're Nintendo, and my house will probably have one of those fucking little shits by the end of the year. Like, I'm not happy about it, but I know who it is and what it is. And so it's just hard to look at this, and like Enate said, the buying power of the Xbox platform, it's just not there. If it was, they wouldn't be sending their games over to PlayStation. That's where this disconnect comes in, because I can logically look at Xbox and the decisions they have made and go, oh, it makes sense they're putting their games on PlayStation now. Makes 100% total sense. No harm, no foul. I get it. PlayStation does it, and I'm like, wait a second, y'all are the market leader. Y'all are kicking everybody else's ass in the gaming sector right now, as far as a platform and a publisher. And like, okay, cool. Let's see what we can do. Nope, we're going to put our games over there. Why? Do you need money? Nope. Do you want more eyes on it? Not really. I mean, we got enough. We made enough money off of it. So what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's where I'm left going, okay, you're not making any damn sense. And so, anyways, we have beat these horses till they were dead. They are now dead. Fully dead. I hope GameLogic gets back in, because we are at the wrap-up. Okay, so we will see if he can make it back in. If not, if he doesn't make it back, the link to both of his channels are in the description below. They are the Enough to Keep Going network, and the other one he just told me about today, it's more of a tech-based one. Let me find it because the link doesn't actually show it properly. Rounding Off Infinity. And so both of his links are there. Also, the link to his X is there. I have Enate here. So Enate, you can tell the fine folks in the chat where to find you.
Yeah. It's you guys can typically find me on Saturdays on the Otter Players podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Otter Nation. And yeah, otherwise, typically on Blue Sky or Twitter at The Real Enate.
There it is. You can find me in St. Louis rolling on the... What? No. So
Right.
When you said you can find me here and you can find me here, I was like, you can find me in St. Louis.
Yeah.
What a...
you could tell we were born the same year.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So directly after this, you will be able to find me. Give me about 10 minutes. Thanks to Stephen Leon tonight for the 20 gifted members. It got y'all to the goal. I will be streaming Lies of P tonight. I have no work for a while, and I'm on steroids right now, so I have tons of energy. So I'm going to hope that playing some video games, getting in that nice relaxed position, gets me nice and sleepy. So, y'all earned it though. We are going to go ahead and play Lies of P. It came out on PlayStation Plus Essential tier, and I think they just added difficulty modes. So we're going to see how I do. If I can keep my pants, it'll be a great night. Y'all can find me over on Twitter or X or whatever the heck you call it. You can find me on the PlayStation. You can find me in the Discord. All of those things are there in the description below. And yeah, with all of that being said, guys, thank you all for coming. This is the Gaming Den Podcast. See you on the next one.